guys. Hey, y'all. I'm your legal bestie, attorney Simone, and let's get on in here. I don't want to miss none of the crimes, so we're getting started earlier today. Usually, I start around 9 a.m. Central because I do be having stuff to do. Today, though, we are getting started now because we don't want to miss a thing. So yesterday, it was George Kaplan on the stand, and George Kaplan was Diddy's assistant from 2013 to 15. He is the first witness of this trial to date who is testifying under immunity. That is huge. That means he said, I don't want to do it. And they said, you don't have a choice. The prosecution decided that the value of whatever he's supposed to testify to is worth giving him immunity. And in addition to him, just to wrap up with him today and start with Mr. Kid Cudi himself. Mr. Cudi. I think we all want to see, and I didn't want to miss Mr. Cudi at all. Here we go. So we're getting started. We're going to start with some of these tweets. Let's see where we're at with the inner city press. And as we do so, here we go. Here we go. It's going to be a good one, y'all. It's going to be a good one. Now you should be able to see it. All right, we're going to get started. Let us know where you're viewing us from. There we are. And let's see, make sure you don't miss a thing. All right. It is U.S. versus Sean Combs. We are now on day 9. Let me make sure I put that properly on my... Yes, we got it. Day 9 on my thumbnail. It is U.S. versus 6 witnesses, including Kid Cudi, who's supposed to be talking about the arson, and he's supposed to be crossed by Mr. Brian Still. Now, let's go. Here we go. All right, here we go. Inner City Press, of course, is covering it. It says, note, down at the courthouse entrance, there is a lot of security, presumably for the arrival of Mr. Cudi. Now, up in court, though, before the jury is brought in, the judge says, I didn't hear the government objecting to Mr. Kaplan testifying about Ms. Ventura asking for substances in Boston. The judge, let's get Mr. Kaplan back on the stand. It's Miss. Why do they keep calling her Mr.? Let's get Miss Kaplan back on the stand. Interesting. Hold on. Un momento. All right, I want to make sure you guys see this. Also check on you guys as you're coming in. Hey, so you guys are, Simone, I love you, but we've got to get you a new camera. I agree. Put some in that tip jar. That would be wonderful. I'd appreciate it so much. Sometimes, though, it's a little foggy, depending on my internet signal. But wait a minute. I find this interesting that the judge here in this text message, not text, but this tweet, the judge is saying, let's get Miss Kaplan talking about Dawn Kaplan was the expert yesterday. She's an expert on DV and how victims process it, how it impacts their memory and other things. The judge is saying, I didn't hear the government object to her testifying about Miss Ventura asking for substances in Boston, and then said, let's get her back on the stand. So that's weird. The judge is basically saying, hey, you guys did not preserve an issue that could be raised on appeal, hypothetically, and he's giving them a second chance to do their job. That just seems very odd. So they're saying later in the day, they're going to call Ms. Kaplan back. Lord have mercy, that lady is $6,000 a day. That means that the government is now going to have to pay that lady $12,000 instead of just $6, because she did yesterday and now she's going to have to come back today. All right. Now they're back with Mr. Kaplan on the stand. Prosecutor asked, when did you carry cash for Mr. Combs? He said $50,000 on his private jet. Ooh, that's suspect. Did you pick up cash for Mr. Combs? $10,000 at Western Union from Combs Enterprises. FYI, if the amount is $10,000 or more, there is special paperwork that generally needs to be completed under the U.S. anti-money laundering laws. So that's interesting. That's strange. The prosecution says, what long-term relationship of Mr. Combs were you aware of? He says, Cassie, Kim, Gina. Who was Kim? The mother of his children. Cassie, girlfriend. Gina, another girlfriend. The jet flight to Vegas. What was the layout of the jet? 4 chairs, a partition. It says 4 chairs, a partition. I had a partial view over my right shoulder. When you witnessed violence by Mr. Combs on Miss Ventura, why didn't you intervene? He said, my career. After the last glass breaking, what did Mr. Combs do? He came forward. Cassie stayed in the back, meaning glass breaking apparently on the jet. He came forward and Cassie stayed in the back. He asked me to get creams to conceal the bruising on her face. How did you pay for it? Corporate credit card. Up. We got to jiggle the lube. That's bringing in the enterprise. Bringing in the enterprise. Corporate credit card. So he used a corporate credit card to cover up the bruising on the lady that is arguably related to S trafficking. Oh, y'all, I accidentally slid that thing open. Okay. Lube down. All right, we've got, and then he also referenced that he didn't intervene as it relates to his career. And then up above, he picked up $10,000 that was being shipped from, and it was wired from Combs Enterprises. Keep in mind, guys, these are also significant because this, if he is found guilty, these are the kind of things the government is going to point to seize his entire enterprise. All of the stock, all of the assets, the properties, the everything. That means he wouldn't even be able to leave. He wouldn't even be able to leave stock to his kids. All right. Next, it says, why did you leave Combs Enterprises? I didn't think I should be covering things up, like buying the witch hazel. Also, my dad had prostate cancer. Any kind of violence? He threw things at Gina in the entryway of the main home on Star Island. What was he throwing? Green apples? Green apples? Green eggs and ham. Y'all, this man is throwing green apples at people. Apples hurt. Apples hurt. Miss Music is in me said you're 7 minutes late. It's okay. It's okay. You haven't missed too much. What we've just started off, we got James Kaplan back on the stand. He's talking about Diddy throwing apples at people's heads. So Diddy was throwing apples apparently at Gina. Yeah, knocking her in the head with some apples so far. Jesus. Green apples, how hard? Very hard. Later, I took the medicine bag into their room. Mr. Combs wanted me to leave quickly. Then what? I heard Gina at the gate and male voices. Who? Security. When you left, what did you do? I collected myself. Then I went to work for an integrated marketing firm. Those are the kinds of firms he works for to this day. Sounds like his testimony is wrapping up, which is good. This is helpful, but it's good. We wanted to get it all wrapped up because we want the Cudi. We want the Cudi. We want the Cudi. So, see if we can refresh, see if we get some more out of this. And man, so Diddy was throwing apples at people's heads is what we've established this morning. That George Kaplan has not only seen violence, but that he also obtained substances, illegal substances for Mr. Combs, and that he provided them to Mr. Combs, who then did whatever he wanted, distributed them, took them. Sometimes he'd get them in other people's names. Okay, hold on. All right, there we go. It says, the defense. Why did you go to work for Combs Enterprises? Again, remember, when I was breaking down RICO for you guys, with respect to RICO, we already know this is an enterprise. It's called Combs Enterprises. So in other words, they just have to show that on a continuous basis, Diddy was instructing people to do unlawful stuff within a 10-year time frame of one another. And by the way, continuous is defined as 2 instances within the 10-year time frame. And it can't be just one, like it has to be like multiple types of things. But so the fact that they continue to refer to this as Combs Enterprises is helpful for the prosecution. Why did you work for him? He was an incredible entrepreneur. I have learned from him. What did Brian do as COO? Ensuring profitability of each unit. Brian, I guess we're going to get into who Brian is. All right, we're getting a little cross. That means we're starting to wrap it on up. Again, this is the first witness to testify under immunity. Everybody else, girls and guys, has testified without immunity. Even David James. David James just did a proffer, but did not, which means he went and he just told them everything he knew, but he didn't have immunity. He was willing to come to court without it. Immunity is generally only issued when they feel like this is an important person and we feel like their testimony is what matters. All right, so let's go back to updating with the testimony. So, all right, when they had asked him earlier, George Kaplan, they said, yeah, he talked about the layout of the flight. He talked about the incident with Cassie, that Cassie stayed in the back, etc. He said, he talks about throwing green apples at Gina's head, watching Diddy throw green apples at Gina's head. How hard was he throwing them? Real hard, very hard. And that he later took the medicine bag to their room. I think that's implying that they had like a FO in the room or did drugs together, laid up together, and had a nice night. When you left, he said, why did you did so? When you left, what did you do? He said he collected himself and then he went to work for a marketing firm. Why did you work for Combs Enterprises? He said Combs was an entrepreneur, amazing entrepreneur, and he learned so much. What did Brian do as COO? So Brian's going to start being important, it looks like. He says, Brian ensured the profitability of each unit. He said, I was an employee when Revolt TV launched. Oh, wow. So Revolt has been around. He said he worked there between 13 to 15. So, wow. Okay, Revolt's been around for 10 years now. It says, tell me about it. We were on the 16th floor of 1710 Broadway. Everyone was there. It was momentous. On cross, the defense attorney says, diversity was important to Mr. Combs. He said, specifically for African Americans. Uh-oh. The orange man in charge ain't gonna like that one. How dare you implement DEI? That may impact your little pardon you're seeking. Then he says, what did Blue Flame do? Blue Flame did marketing for Ciroc. What is Diageo? They own Johnny Walker and others. Mr. Combs set up a marketing entity for Ciroc. Good morning, guys. Oh, Regina Small says, I'm learning too much. I feel like a lawyer now. Girl, you can be my paralegal. You're my paralegal. Also, if you join the membership of the channel, the higher levels, I call those co-counsel and paralegal. On those levels, you do get copies of documents that I break down and then I place on the screen. Next, he's saying, that Blue Flame does marketing for Ciroc. He said, your job, what was it? For example, Mr. Combs would say, we're going to leave the house. He meant in 3 to 5 minutes. I had a checklist for the bags and toiletry. It was a bad look for me if something wasn't in there. Oh, I need to start doing that for my man. I said, my next man I'm going to get, y'all, I want him to pack my bags when we travel. I don't think I'm going to get him, but I'm going to ask for him. The Lord said, ask and you shall receive. I'm probably not going to get it, but I will ask. Defense says, is there a binder near you? I can't read that. It says Southern District. Defense says, I'm handing you something to refresh your recollection. Take a look at it as long as you want. So certain things, how it works is certain things that are considered hearsay. They can't just put it into evidence. So he's probably showing him like a document or maybe even something he said previously. They can't put it into evidence because it's hearsay unless they ask him first something about it. And he either says, I don't recall, or contradicts himself. Then they can try to get it in. So he says, take a minute, refresh your recollection. Okay. Waiting on an update for that one. It's been about 5 minutes. He's still, out there refreshing that recollection. All right, we are going to. All right. All right. So when you work with Mr. Combs, it says part of the job, wherever you're close, whether you're close with him or not. It's being annoying. Hold on, CNN. Mr. Kaplan is stating, leave me alone. Let's update it. We want to get the trial updates. Here we go. Yes. He's saying, so Kaplan testifies that when you work with Mr. Combs, part of the job, whether you're close with him or not, he has an extremely infectious vibration, he testified. You're around him and you feel his excitement. You know what else you probably feel? That MDMA, that X. That's probably what you're feeling. Drugs will do it to you. I went to Coachella once. I was the only one not doing substances. And boy, I said, I see why these people be high up on this stuff. This place is weird. First of all, Coachella is like in the desert. So during the day, it's hot as heck. During the night, it's cold as heck. You literally, I left there with what they called Coachella flu. So much dust and dirt gets up in your nose and your face. That's also why they say, oh, you got to bring a bandana. Pre-COVID, you supposed to wear a bandana because all that stuff gets up in you. Then it gets in your throat. Then I sound like a transvestite male, right? Just but everybody else, and it's so hot during the day, it's like too hot to really drink. That was miserable. And then at night, it's so cold if you don't have a jacket on, you're freezing. So everybody there was on drugs but me, and I understand why. So Kaplan also testifies. This is an update from CNN. He testifies. Here, we'll do. He testified that he learned business lessons from Combs. He said, working for him made my world so much bigger in such a short period of time. Remember, he only worked there for 2 weeks. Former assistant said he still carries business lessons from Combs with him to this day and believes he wouldn't have had the jobs and success he's had since if he hadn't worked for Combs. Kaplan said he went, quote, eyes wide open into the assistant role for Combs, knowing the hours would be long and the job would be difficult. He previously testified he started for Combs in 2013 as an executive assistant to the COO, which is KK, and was promoted about 10 months later to Combs's EA. He said today he gave notice he was leaving in September of 15 and finally left in December of 15 after the private jet incident involving Cassie and the apple throwing incident involving Gina. He testified he left because of his discomfort with observed physical behavior, although to Combs, Kaplan cited his father's illness. In other words, he said, oh, I got to leave. My dad has prostate cancer. But really, he was like, I didn't see too much stuff. I have seen too much. I don't know. A transvestite, is that dated? The plea deal, is it off the table? Yes, the plea deal is off the table. So you only get a plea deal. Generally, you get it in the pre-trial because the whole purpose is to prevent jury selection, to prevent the cost to taxpayers, to prevent all that. So once that started, it's like game on. The taxpayers finna get their money's worth because you over here playing with them. All right, we got another updated text. It says defense is asking him, you ran an offsite training, a graduate from Harvard Business School. Also, Kenny Burns. Oh, Kenny Burns don't want to be in this. Kenny Burns is an African-American guy. I believe he's from Memphis, but he's known for his parties and curated African-American events. He said, you ran an offsite training, a graduate from Harvard Business School, I guess with a graduate from Harvard Business School and Kenny Burns. He says, I remember you were effective, right? I worked hard. I don't know how you'll answer. Was it good or bad? He says, complicated. I'm not really following this line of questioning. He says, defense says, he didn't need to yell at you when you brought 2 waters. He said, I worked hard. Okay, who was Biggie? A huge rapper who unfortunately passed away. Wasn't Biggie's birthday a holiday at Combs Enterprises? He said, yes. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Y'all. Let me tell you what this man is sitting here doing. Y'all. Somebody said, well, Armand lied. I don't know what he lied about. Y'all, this is, maybe you're saying, maybe he said that the deal's still on the table. No, usually they take it off the deals. And if they're, whatever, I'm assuming that you're talking about whether or not the deal is still on the table. Here's how it works. Whatever deal was on that table, that deal will no longer be on the table. Now, they could later give him a different offer, but let's say for argument, the prior deal was 15 years. I've told you before, I don't believe that. I believe that was a rumor. But if it was, any new deal on the table is going to be more than that. It's going to be more than that. But I don't know what you're saying, Armand lied about. He's so outgoing. Birthday just passed. But here's what I want to see. I want to make sure that you understand from this. This right here. Okay, on cross-examination, defense attorney really just said, who is Biggie? A huge rapper. Wasn't Biggie's birthday a holiday at Combs Enterprises? Baby, that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. That don't have nothing to do with nothing. What that is Diddy made him ask that. Diddy made him ask that. That doesn't flow into anything. That has nothing to do with nothing. Diddy, they say Diddy is sitting in there with them little Post-it notes. Where my Post-it notes at? With little Post-it notes. That was Diddy put that on a Post-it note and said, you need to ask this. Diddy probably Post-it noted that to them yesterday when he, Kaplan, testified that Diddy's alias was Frank Black because Biggie was Frank White. Diddy yesterday probably said, you tell him that it was a holiday. In other words, trying to appear as though Biggie was celebrated throughout Combs Enterprises, not made fun of, not any of that. And at the end of the day, this is the level of arrogance. The level of, do y'all follow me? This is silly. Silly. It's just, yesterday was Biggie's birthday. Didn't seem like a Combs holiday to me. Yeah, they're reaching. Yeah, they are reaching. Simone, does the prosecution consider Cassie an unwilling co-conspirator? Probably. Probably. But I think that's a really great question. But I would say, I want you guys to keep in mind, even if Cassie is a co-conspirator, it doesn't mean all of the offenses that we're talking about can't be proven up. It doesn't mean that they're not still offenses. Armand said Cudi. Okay, Armand said Cudi was not coming to testify today. Well, we'll see. We certainly will. He could be right. If that's what they said at the end of day at trial, but as well, a lot of things kind of changed. So, for example, Monday, they thought he was coming in, or Tuesday, I can't remember. And then at like 10:45 at night, prosecution submitted a letter that said, no, not tomorrow. He ain't gonna be there tomorrow. Be More Cutie said, because he knows they're coming after him for Biggie's death. Oh, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for that $3. Y'all gonna help me get a new camera so y'all can see my big old face. I'm 7 minutes late, but I'm so here for the 6. Oh, here we go. And then Wayne. Oh, Wayne. Thank you. Learned so much. Keep going. I'm glad that men feel comfortable being here. I'm not like one of those the man hater ladies. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes y'all be doing stuff, but sometimes we be doing stuff too. So thanks for joining us. All right, let's see if we got an updated text. We got an updated message. Then I'm curious. I think after this witness, all right, they're still talking about Biggie. After this witness, I think they're probably going to bring up Dr. Kaplan again and make it make sense. Who has been in the courtroom each day. He did a good breakdown of how Miss Kaplan testified. And I have to say, based on what I watched last night from Make It Make Sense's channel, it seems as though Dr. Kaplan's testimony was much more helpful than it appeared, both via the live messages that we were reading and the like CNN summary updates. It seems like in the courtroom, although Dr. Kaplan was the DV expert, and although she never examined Cassie, never even met with Cassie, it appeared that her job was more so to educate a jury on generally why certain victims may do certain things, like continue to go back, and how it impacts their memory and other decision-making things that they do. This man really, let me tell you, there was another incident. I'm still tickled that Diddy had his defense lawyer say, wasn't Biggie's birthday a holiday at Combs Enterprises? As in, like, he loved Biggie. Biggie was celebrated. Yeah, makes sense. You celebrate someone after you've annihilated them, after they don't exist and they're no longer an issue for you. Sure. Easy to do that then. And again, as this person said right below, what does that birthday holiday have to do with this? Not a doggone thing. I'm going to like it. Nothing. This is ego. This is what it looks like when your client is so rich, they can force you to ask stupid questions. They can force you, because I guarantee Diddy probably wanted that reference yesterday. Well, no. They didn't start the cross till today. But when the topic came up, it's Dr. Hughes. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Shauna. You're right. It is. It's Dr. Dawn Hughes. George Kaplan is who is presently on the stand. Thank you, girl. Fact check. But yes, I can't imagine. I'm trying to think, what is the price point I would have to have? How much would I need to be charging per hour for my client to get me to ask dumbass questions in court? I'm going to say around $2,000, $2,500 an hour. And then for that, you get like one dumb question a day. We don't. Just the one, though. Just the one. One dumb question. I think that'd be reasonable. But $25 an hour. Yeah, these people, they charge over $1,000 an hour. I think he might be $2,000 an hour. What else did George Kaplan say? Because his testimony was damning yesterday. We're going to summarize that. Let me see if there's an update to his current cross, because that was really stupid. Here we go. No, there's not. All right. So here, let's do. I'm going to roll it back to. So he's back on the stand. Oh, hold on. We've got another important update before we're still waiting on Kaplan. Another update, it says the judge rules Kid Cudi can testify about how his dog acted following a 2011 home break-in. The attorneys and the judge had a laugh this morning, debating what Kid could talk about, including about how his dog acted following a 2011 break-in at his home. It says the rapper is expected to say his home was burglarized and car set on fire with a Molotov cocktail. Around the same time, Diddy learned he was dating Cassie. Judge asked the prosecutors, he's not going to testify about what the dog thought? Prosecutor assured the court he's not a dog psychic, but Kid Cudi is expected to say his dog was jumpier and more scared after the burglary. Defense attorney Brian Steele said too much testimony suggesting the dog was traumatized could prejudice the jury, which may include some doggy lovers. Judge Subramanian ruled that the prosecution can question Kid Cudi about how his dog acted in the immediate time frame. Lordy. Child, this is silly. All right. So George Kaplan, what he's testified about so far. So he testified about carrying cash for Diddy, And that one time in 2015, security asked him to hold $50,000 for Diddy. The implication is that it must have been for nefarious purposes, because why would you need 50,000, right? Why couldn't you just wire it where you needed to go? And remember, if you go to another country with more than 10,000, with 10,000 or more, you got to declare it. So it's kind of fishy that he wanted him to do this. Once landed, Kaplan handed the money to other security personnel, he said. Combs also had him get 10,000 in cash from Western Union a couple of times. Kaplan testified that he would give the cash to Combs after he picked it up. So I guess part of the challenge is when you have someone else pick it up, according to the government thinks it's their money. But when you pick it up and have them give it to you, like I dated this drug dealer. I didn't really know that's what he was doing until things stopped adding up. I remember I dated this drug dealer and in New Orleans. I hope he gets, I need to get locked up any day now because he's a pretty terrible person. And I'll never forget, he had asked me, he was like, hey, do you have PayPal? I was like, yeah, what's up? He's like, I need to send some money to you. And then when you get it, I need you to just slide it over to me. I was like, well, why can't you send it to yourself? Get it sent directly to you. He's like, oh man, my PayPal, I got some issues. Like they tripping, they be holding my money. I said, okay, how much is it? He was like, oh, it's like $9,999. I was like, oh, you think I'm stupid. Now, when I met him, I'll admit I had on this Amazon wig that did look kind of crusty, and I met him drunk on a street corner at 55 at South by Southwest. So I can understand that he may have questioned my judgment. But when he said that, I just simply said this because I don't like fussing with me, and I don't need to do that. I'm peace. I'm peace. So I said, okay, Pumpkin, I'm going to give you this W-9. So I just need you to fill that out, put in your EIN, your company information, and or your personal information. And once you do that, then yes, we can do that. He said, what? I said, a W-9. Y'all, that's the form the government uses to track how money is flowing. And then I would have told the government like, hey, I got this from my business, but it went directly to this person. And therefore I wouldn't have to pay taxes on it and nothing else. I knew by doing that, this little son of a gun would leave me alone. Sure enough, he did. Sure enough. He's like, oh, never mind. Yeah, I bet. I'm not about to be your wire fraud accomplice. You go to jail by your damn self, stupid. All right, we are still waiting on an update. Here we go. We got an update on additional texts from Kaplan. Here we go. So Kaplan is saying, here we are. Yeah, Diddler traumatized the dog. That's correct. All right, so. And we'll go back to it. It says, all right, was it a creative environment? Absolutely. It attracted all kinds of creative people, lawyers, musicians, advertising people. A few specific questions. You used a corporate credit card. Yes. How did Mr. Combs pay? KK held his wallet with a black Amex in it. Boy, KK, we can't wait for you to take the stand, girl. And we know you're going to do it with immunity because bitch, you going to jail. If not, Agnifilio, you have no reason to think he kept track of how baby oil was paid for. He said no reason. Or applesauce. He said he loves applesauce. Or cheeseburgers, smile, on everything. He loves applesauce on everything. Let's talk about the plane. You heard glass breaking. You didn't see it. I didn't see it. The incident with Gina. You walk into the house. There's a thin table. He says, I don't know. They love that line of questioning to say, oh, you just heard something. You didn't see it. Listen, stupid. If I hear glass breaking and then I see a person on the floor, a woman on the floor with her hands up and her legs up, trying to create distance with a man standing over her angry and glass on the floor. They didn't say there was glass on the floor, but I'm just saying hypothetically. And her saying, y'all, and no one's going to do anything. You guys see this? You're not going to do anything. It's called circumstantial evidence, fool. I know what the hell just happened. And then it says the incident with Gina in the house. She walked into the house. There was a thin table. He says, I don't know. You don't remember how a person could get out of the gate at 2 Star Island? No, I just heard screaming and commotion. Screams of terror or of how can I open this gate? I don't know how to distinguish between the two. Oh, they're trying to imply she's screaming because she couldn't get out, or she's screaming because she just got her butt beat. Please stop treating us like we're stupid. Are y'all stupid? No, because if you were stupid, you wouldn't be listening. You wouldn't be here. Did yeah. Oh, the story with the applesauce. So Diddy literally is obsessed with applesauce. His prior assistant testified previously that that was that he loved ketchup, he loved applesauce, and he even loved applesauce on his cheeseburgers. Yeah, I love applesauce too. I specifically love the cinnamon applesauce when it comes in the little separate containers. Someone said, I just made red velvet cupcakes with applesauce last night. Now I'm questioning myself. Lauren, that sounds delicious. Oh, yeah, and Jello. He loves Jello. Why is Diddy whooping these women like this? This is how he controls them. His mama taught him. His mama taught him. His mom was supposed to be a madam, allegedly. So he upped him in either the way he saw his mother be controlled or possibly even her controlling hoes. Scrutiny, audits, or even investigations, it says, are well documented. Kiddie food is what I call Jello. Only kids and senior citizens eat applesauce. It's really peculiar. I know, but it's a field day with this information. Can y'all help me in the chat just get to the bottom of the understanding of what was, I'm trying to remember what was the incident between 50 and Diddy that just kind of did it for 50, where he was like, So here they're talking about defense is trying to get Kaplan to acknowledge that, like, he doesn't really know what the incident was with Gina, that there was just commotion and screaming, and that it simply could have been Gina at 2 a.m. drunk trying to get out of the gate because it was very secure at Star Island. He says, defense says, he threatened your jobs, but did he physically threaten you? He said, no. You talked about Kim Porter, how she was different. Kaplan said his respect for her. They had incredible kids. He says, thank you. So you're going to say he threatened me, but he didn't physically threaten you. What the hell difference does it make? Remember, guys, one of the claims in the indictment is forced labor. Forced labor doesn't need to be around. Forced labor is that threats of coercion and things like that were used to have you continually continue to work. So I think it was one of the members of the band, I believe it was Freddie, talked about how Diddy said if he were to leave, Diddy would basically go back home to his hometown, which was New Orleans, I believe, and basically make sure his entire family was impoverished. Turn off the lights on the whole block, have people coming up missing, da, 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 da. That's the kind of thing that's forced labor. Forced labor is also making your staff take substances so that they could stay up all night, practice, work, etc. All of that plays into it. Yeah, now they're trying to make him sound respectable. In this part, he threatened your job, but did he threaten you physically? No. You talked about Kim Porter, how she was different. His respect for her. They had incredible kids. They're also trying to clearly create the distinction that Cassie was just his mistress and his freako, his little freaky, but that Kim was his wife figure, and that Cassie was upset, envious, jealous, etc., that she couldn't be treated with the same reverence as Kim. So as we wait for that, let's go back to include this recap from CNN, where it talks about, I talked about the 50,000, I talked about the 10,000. Basically, Diddy had Kaplan effectively laundering or moving money. I would say it may not be laundering, it's more like wire fraud. Like, if you are receiving money on behalf of Diddy, then really Diddy's name needs to be on the Western Union and things like that. And that's because there is a federal law that helps them, that's supposed to be like the Anti-Money Laundering Act. And that's how come when you come into the country or leave, they make you sign that declaration that says you are not carrying cash or currency worth 10K or more. Kim's assistant, he does testify under immunity. And that immunity requires him to testify truthfully and allows for the testimony to not be used against him, only if it's true. Comey also confirmed with Kaplan he can still be prosecuted for perjury if he lies on the stand. That's true. And they can do away with the immunity order. All right. In addition, Kaplan, oh yeah, we talked about the private jet. The private jet incident, I think the private jet incident was a fight that Kaplan witnessed between Cassie and Diddy on the private plane. The significance there is that his staff was all on the plane. They all saw it. No one did anything to come to Cassie's rescue. And significantly, Cassie's on the floor and literally hollers, "Isn't anybody seeing this?" As in, like, y'all just gonna let this man do me like this? Whoop on me like a rag doll? He also testified that after testifying on one occasion, he saw Diddy be violent with her. Oh, yeah, on the jet. And that Cassie had visible injuries where he instructed, it says Combs called Kaplan over an intercom, told him to meet him in the master bedroom, where he directed Kaplan to pick up some over-the-counter products like witch hazel, because that would had an anti-swelling agent. In other words, it would help Cassie's bruises go down. And to get to Combs, he passed Ventura, who was crying on the bed with her head in her hands. She had visible bruising on her face, who added he didn't stop to talk to her or check on her. He said he left the house to get the items that Combs requested at a nearby pharmacy, paying for them with his Combs Enterprise Company credit card. So, in other words, in support of the S trafficking is this Combs credit card, because if you believe that he whipped on her and would, that he whipped on her as a component of the S trafficking, then by covering up that offense, that is a RICO offense. Covering that up is part of the enterprise, performing a common goal. The common goal of this RICO enterprise allegedly is to protect Diddy the brand at all times, make him look good to the public, only show the good stuff, never the bad. Kaplan left Combs' employment, he says, due to his behavior. He says, quote, "The central reason I left my job as Combs' assistant was that I was not comfortable or aligned with the physical behavior that had been going on that I had seen pieces of over the course of a couple months." Because remember, he started with supporting KK, then he went over to Diddy. He said he did not want to be party to fixing those kinds of things. It was extremely challenging because I was obviously extremely grateful to be in the role and have a great deal of respect for Mr. Combs. But in my heart of hearts, I knew it was the right thing to do to leave. He also testified he once saw Combs throw a number of green apples at his girlfriend, Gina, in late 2015 at the Combs Beach home. I mean, he was overlapping these chicks. It says Combs was very angry. He was throwing the apples hard. She was trying to shield herself with her arms as she moved away from Combs, and he just said, "Brown, brown, brown." Kaplan testified that he did not intervene. He said he was a young kid really trying to make it in the entertainment industry. This was essentially my first grown-up job. And I actually thought for a second, this might be normal. Damn. Kaplan said he spoke with KK, the former chief of staff, after the apple throwing incident and told her about the private jet incident involving Cassie. She was sad and disappointed. He said he told KK that this was going to be the last straw for me and I was going to see my way out of this role over a period of time. Kaplan told Combs he was leaving because his dad was sick, and Combs was extremely gracious, he says. He said he last saw Combs before the pandemic. Kaplan kept in touch. He said, because I like Mr. Combs and I wanted to continue having a relationship with him. Didn't I tell y'all yesterday? I told y'all yesterday. I said, this man is forcing the immunity agreement. He showed up because he was subpoenaed, but he's forcing this immunity agreement because he still has a relationship with Diddy. I said it yesterday, and that makes sense. That I said, I believe that he probably worked in the industry or had a relationship with Diddy. We confirmed he still works in the industry. He works on the side of branding. He's got deals with Diageo that owns Ciroc, as well as Beats by Dre and others like that in the industry. So he respects Diddy for the businessman that he is, it sounds like, but not him whooping up on people. And the updated text simply says, when you set, this is defense asking, when you set up a hotel room for Mr. Combs and Miss Porter, there was no baby oil, right? He said, lotions. You expressed caution about hotels. Why you clean the room afterwards? He said, hotel staff could sell photos. Everyone wants a payday. Hold on. I know they like that soundbite on the defense. Everyone wants a payday. They're going to really play into that. But y'all see what he did there? Oh, that was for the kids as well. He said, when you set up hotel rooms for Mr. Combs and Miss Porter, there was no baby oil. First of all, Miss Porter was never ashy. There's that. But no, I think in seriousness, I think he's really trying to establish Miss Porter was respected. She was treated as the wife role. These other girls were effectively ex-toys. Ex-toys. Play things. What do y'all think? Where do y'all think he's going at with this? Yeah, let me see. Danny says, he just said, I said the same thing, actually. I understand why they gave him immunity, but I hope he slips up and loses the immunity because he needs to be right beside Diddy. All the ones who did nothing should be held accountable. Okay. He said, but let's not act like he didn't mistreat Kim too. Well, that's the thing. Gene Dill told the truth. He absolutely did mistreat Kim. What I find interesting, though, is here's what I think is going to happen. Let me tell y'all. While we're waiting for updates, I'm going to put my big old face up here. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think the prosecution is going to let the defense continue to build this theme that Kim is the queen. These others were play things. Kim is the queen. These other girls were play things. And then they're going to have a witness take the stand, such as KK or someone else, perhaps Gene Deal, KK, someone who's seen it all, who's going to get up there and be like, no, he would whoop on her too. He didn't respect any woman. He tore them all up. And we sat there and did nothing. And we didn't do nothing. We didn't protect Kim. We didn't protect anything. If I was on the prosecution side, that's what I would do. I'd let them. Go ahead. Every witness, you're going to let every witness on for the defense, as they cross each person, as they put each person up there, let them go ahead and act like Diddy was good to Kim and bad to everyone else because the other girls. And then boom, you get that one good witness that got up there and says, no, he was disgusting to them all. Boom. Is defense trying to pin this on KK? I can't say that yet. No. I don't see that. Right. Wayne is saying boo because Kim's not here to defend herself. Right. But they also continue to bring up Kim out of sympathy. So the goal there as well, they want to bring up Kim because what they're trying to also establish is sympathy for the kids. Surely you don't want to send their daddy away to prison for life and make these children orphans. Surely you don't want to do that. The reason I know that that's true is, number one, like I know how these cases work, but also in reading one of the summaries, one of the objections the prosecution had, actually, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, was they were getting sick of the constant reference to Kim Porter having passed away, because they objected and told the judge, our concern is that they are improperly eliciting sympathy for the jury for the children. She said that. They said that in an objection. What do you guys think? How do you guys think that is going to play out for the jury? The fact that Kim has passed, and that if they give this man a long time, these poor adult daughters and the sons will be grown-up orphans. Yeah, I agree. Yep, Damon said it. Demira says, yeah, women herders, they don't exclude anyone. I've never known of one who says, you know what, I'm gonna whip up on you, and you, but you're good over there. No, it's a control technique. Somebody said, bring in Kimora. Bring in Kimora. She knows. Yep, Misa too. They're not gonna call Misa in any way, shape, or form. I don't think that they'll call Misa because what Misa experienced more than likely is outside of the time frame for this indictment. So remember, for this one, the relevant time period is 2009 to present. So many have said, "Oh, what do you think Farnsworth Bentley is going to say?" I think he's going to say nothing. I don't think he's going to be called because he worked for him prior to that. If he worked for him over past '09, it was just a smidgen of time, it was just a little bit of time. But primarily it was before that. So he's not going to have anything that is relevant to this statute of limitations, would be my, I guess. They need to subpoena Mary and Foxy. Well, my understanding is that Mary has definitely seen some things. She saw some stuff and she don't want to talk about it. All right. So then we see. All right. So now there's an update. It says, he talked about you expressed caution about hotels, why you cleaned the room, that was why you cleaned the room afterwards. Kaplan said, staff can sell photos. Everyone wants a payday. He says, you sent him a photo of him and Kim Porter. He says, after she died, I was heartbroken for him. You were close. I invited him to my wedding. I didn't hear back. Objection. Surprise look. You respected him? He said, yes. Why is there surprise? Object. I invited him to my wedding, but he didn't come. Of course. What is he getting at? You sent a picture. Kim sure did. I would too. If I knew someone lost a loved one, I sure would. That's exactly what I'm doing. It says Kaplan, Kaplan also stated that when he left, he said he kept in touch because he liked Mr. Combs and wanted to continue having a relationship with him. Captain learned a lot of business lessons for him. Blah, blah, blah. We got it. He had Kaplan testified that Combs had infectious energy. They should be wrapping up with Kaplan pretty shortly, and I'm eager to see who's next. I think it's going to be Dawn Hughes, Dr. Dawn, which is fine. Please, I don't need too much with her. Bring us the Kid Cudi. That's what we're here for. It says, he also testified he took extra care cleaning the hotel rooms after Combs left because he didn't trust the hotel. He said he was concerned staff would try to sell the content from the rooms and that could hurt Combs's reputation. He described how when someone was working for Combs, they were either on or on call. When Combs was at a business lunch, for example, Kaplan said he would be on, but when Combs would stay at hotels, he was generally on call in case Combs needed something. He said, you understand that this was his personal time, defense attorney says. And he says, yes. Whatever. Hurry it up. Okay. And then he says, what is this a photo of? It's me, KK, and Mr. Combs at Teterboro Airport. He just got the jet. That's why there's champagnes. You're happy here, right? He said, no, refresh it. It's that I was glad I had found the mascara in the back seat. What? Oh, that sounds like a juicy story we finna get. He said, you're happy here, right? I can't stand that line of defense. I know the defense only has but so much to work with, but that line of defense where you take a picture, you take a moment where someone isn't crying or complaining, but they appear happy. And you're like, but on this day, at this second, at this moment, you're happy. Let me tell you, sometimes when I'm on my cycle, I get cramps that are debilitating and I'll have a bad day. But you know what else I do sometimes is I'll make an Instagram video or a breakdown and I might smile in there. Doesn't mean I don't have cramps. Doesn't mean everything in my stomach ain't going like this, like a washing machine. I don't feel like it's just I'm still feeling that way. But for a moment, I'm not freaking complaining because I got shit to do. So all I'm saying is it's similar for Kaplan or anyone else in this man's realm. There are moments where they're like, what in the holy hell is going on here? This ish is crazy. And then there are probably other moments where they're like, even if they think it's crazy, they're going to smile and they're going to keep pushing. Speaking of, I need to take my medicine or the lack of sales. We're going to put this back up. Make it bigger. It says, he was an abusive legal. They do the same thing with women. They'll take the pictures where Cassie's like, I'm so happy. And I bet she was happy. Listen, I'd be happy too if I usually get my butt beat and I'm not getting it beat at that moment. That's when I'm going to smile. Smiling. I'm smiling. Is that the Clearport Jay-Z rapped about? Yes, that is. Teterboro is the Clearport. Yes, women are able to push together while being in pain. Take them meds, ma'am. I think they should be over here. Hold on. Where's my chicken wing? Oh, here's my chicken wing. Chicken makes me feel better. Especially this kind. It's got a little crispy. Said Kaplan and Diddy were giving each other head nods yesterday. Yes, they sure did. Trill Angel, I'm glad you said that. I'm not eating this. Never mind. Not eating it. I should have refrigerated it. Yeah, it was from a happy hour yesterday. I don't like the texture. We are waiting for updated texts. Oh, someone said I just saw a music video from Cassie that was called that I hadn't heard before. It was called I'd Rather Lose a Lover Than Love a Loser. Oh, how appropriate. Let's make it go viral so maybe she can get those streams. Yeah, cramps are not for the faint. Taking meds reminds me to take my daily vitamins. Hold on one second. Teterboro is a private airport in New Jersey. A lot of celebs use it. Yeah, I do remember. I used to live in Newark, New Jersey when I first graduated law school. I didn't know any better. It was a fun little place to live back then. It says Diddy slept with Mary before giving her a deal with Union. With Uptown. She don't seem like somebody that you want to sleep with for like. But see, okay, let me think this through. Diddy, we now know Diddy loves doing things that he can use to blackmail people. So it would totally make sense that he would convince her to do that, take some footage of it, keep the footage that could later be used to blackmail her. Because Diddy definitely, it's more so, Diddy don't seem like her type. She not going to want that little Tootsie Roll. Absolutely not. She looked like she likes somebody who could pick her up and lift her in the air and spin her around a little bit, put her back down and won't drop her. Diddy will drop you. He'll drop. He's not even going to do it. He is so lazy. Because what we know is Diddy, we all know, Diddy likes to sit back looking like Molly the Muslim. We've already established. He likes to sit back in that corner, dressed up like Molly the Muslim. And then, see, there you go. There go Diddy with his stuff out in the Astroglide. Okay, stroking it. That's what we know. That just doesn't sit right with me. I don't think that that's a Mary J type of love affair. Okay, shake your Astroglide if you agree. Can y'all hear? Shake your Astroglide if you agree. Y'all let me know. I don't see it. Is Cassie free of bad boy? I'm pretty sure she is. You did it before I could type it out. Molly the Muslim. Okay, you hear it. Come on. Yes. What? Unique said no Astroglide before 11 a.m. Speak for yourself, honey. If I'm on vacation, I do what needs to get done. It says Mary did not say that. Somebody said Mary would fight back. She would absolutely fight back. I can't see her doing. They just have such they as in Mary and Diddy have such a brother sister vibe. I just have difficulty believing that happened, but anything is possible at this point. We're getting surprised left and right. All right, update. All right, let me make sure. Let me put this back up for you guys. Well, that's part of the problem. All right. All right, the update says, they found you and they subpoenaed you. Kaplan says, I had to retain counsel right away. Y'all, that's expensive. He probably had to put down a minimum 5 to 10,000. I would say 10K because of how significant this trial is. He said, I had to retain counsel right away. No further questions. Redirect. Which incidents shook you? The prosecution asked. He says, the plane with Cassie and the apples with Gina. I felt guilty. I didn't do anything after the incident with Cassie on the plane, but you didn't see any injuries. People can be injured without injuries being visible. The tonality and the tension with the apples he threw at Gina, it was troubling. Wow! He sounds credible. He sounds believable. He also sounds really intelligent. The tonality and the tension. I think we all know what that means. Because remember, the defense was trying to establish maybe Gina was just yelling at 2 in the morning, trying to get out of Star Island because of how secure it is, that he really didn't know what he was seeing or what he was looking at. He said, the tonality and the tension of the apples he threw at Gina, it was troubling. Also, this is a signpost. They really only ask questions about Cassie and Gina. Why? Because those are the two alleged trafficking victims per the indictment. This is very much confirming that. And the other day in court, actually, Agnifilo confirmed that Gina is victim too. All right. So then it says, you told Ms. KK about both incidents. Yes. And I told her, I am unwilling to stand behind the behavior that I was quitting. Did KK say she would quit? No. How long did she stay after you told her? Until recently. Next witness, we call Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi takes the stand. He's there. Kid Cudi takes the stand. Kid Cudi, he's on that thing. He's on that thing. Y'all get in here. Get in here. Sorry. Shaking the lube. Shaking the Astroglide. He's in here. All right. Oh gosh. Okay, Kid Cudi takes the stand. I'm just going to make a banner. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going. Cudi takes stand. So I guess, I don't know. I guess Armand misunderstood. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Love Armand. Okay. Here, we got it. Kid Cudi. We dated in 2011. Who else was she involved with? Sean Combs. What did you know about their status? That she and Sean had some problems and they weren't dating anymore. Oh, and then it's before that, it just said, prosecution said, we call Scott Miss Cudi. What a cute name. Kid Cudi takes a stand in a leather jacket, white shirt, and blue jeans. Blue jeans, okay. I don't recommend blue jeans because when you wear blue jeans to court, it looks like you go to jail all the time. But that's fine. Whatever. I'm glad he's there. What did you work for? I'm an actor and musician known as Kid Cudi. Who is this? There's a photo. He says, Cassie. We dated in 2011. Who else was she involved with? Sean Combs. What did you know about their status? That she and Sean had some problems and they weren't dating anymore. Someone says, God, please don't bring baby oil in this. I'm not ready to hear that Cudi was oiled up too. Child. All right, we got Kid Cudi on the stand. He said they met around 2008. This is per CNN, and dated around 2011. Kid Cudi described himself as an actor and musician, and when asked, identified Cassie in a photo. He said they were friends and briefly dated. They met around 2008, dated around 11. Remember, Christmas 11 time was when he actually flew to, Cassie was home for Christmas with her family, and Cudi came and met and stayed with her. That also makes sense and is consistent because remember, that was right after Diddy blackmailed her family, made them mortgage their home. The family sent him $20K so that he wouldn't release her ex tapes. And then he sent the money back 4 days later, but he does not get credit for that. The extortion had already occurred. You don't get to not go to jail for extortion because you give the money back. In fact, generally that's part of your restitution. Okay. Because you should have never did it in the first place. But Cassie's mom stated that over that same holiday, Kid Cudi came and stayed with them for some time over the holidays. I'm curious if in part he may have stayed after being scared after the burglary at his house. We will find out. But that also speaks to, sounds like Cassie was taking him kind of serious to let her come visit her family over the holidays. All right. In December 2011, did law enforcement respond to your home? See, I said it. Did they respond to your home? Yes. I had a break-in. Cassie called me at 5:30 or 6 in the morning. She said Sean Combs had found out about us. She asked me to pick her up, so I did. Yeah. Why? She was worried. What was her demeanor? Very stressed and worried. Where did you go? The Sunset Marquee. Why? I thought it was safe. Off the radar. Somebody named Emily says, I already like him. He was trying to protect her. Y'all, Kid Cudi is on the stand. Thank you, Taja. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you. Thank you. She could have gotten out of the contract. Someone had asked before if she's still in the contract. There's no way she's in the contract. And if nothing else, she isn't Cassie. If nothing else, I'm sure that when Cassie eked out that settlement, remember her attorney, Wigdor, is an employment lawyer. I can guarantee he added in a provision that very clearly said not only is she out of the contract, but that any future royalties, residuals, whatever would be hers. And probably she don't have to split nothing with that man for the rest of her days. All right, let's keep no sidebars for me until we get this, till we lunch break or whatever. I want to make sure I don't miss nothing. Or if I am, it's going to be short. All right, hold on. Let's see. We've got this on here. Thank you, Taja. Yes. I am only here because Attorney Simone is hot. Thank you, Simone. Thank you, Anthony. Well, you look attractive too. Are your wages garnishable? Just curious in case, I accidentally get pregnant on purpose. Attorney Simone, could the prosecutor bring up Kid Cudi's mental health issues? Beautiful question. And the answer is hell to the no. It's okay. It is not directly. So what would happen? That is such a personal thing. And we do not want to discourage witnesses from coming and telling their truths. So something like that can only be brought in if it's directly relevant. All right. So they said, what was her demeanor? What else did you speak of? Who else did you speak with? Capricorn Clark. She sounded nearly in tears. What did she say? That Sean Combs was in the car near my house. Objection. Overruled. Oh, let me see. Capricorn Clark. Let me just confirm what we're. Who is? Okay. Oh. She is the global brand director of Sean Diddy Combs Enterprises for the last 3 years. Hold on. Wait. I see there was a post with her. Oh, we in that thing. We not playing around. She posted this. Don't take the path of the wicked. I don't follow those who do evil. Stay away from the path. Don't ever go near it. Turn around and go away. Doors be unlocked. You got to be willing to walk away from the money. Full stop. 2011 was hell, she writes. Says former personal assistant Capricorn Clark with an interesting X post. This is her. This is what she looks like. Don't take the path of the wicked, blah, blah, blah. Suge did say he beat her up behind her keeping it on the low that Cassie was with Kid Cudi. Okay, Suge Knight said Diddy beat up Capricorn Clark for not telling him. Allegedly, Capricorn Clark may be let's go back to the messages. She may be the person that one of the two people, at least, that was kidnapped. Why? Because allegedly he kidnapped her and put her in a car and forced her to tell him about the relationship with Diddy. It says, who else? Yeah. Okay, we're still waiting for an update on KK situation. Somebody says, oh, shut it, Brian. Yo, KK. Listen, okay, we're going to read this part. All right, here we go. Oh, no. Here we go. All right. So there was this charity thing at one point, and it says, have lunch with Sean Diddy Combs' global brand director, Capricorn Clark, in New York City. And the bid, you would bid on it. And then it was a bid that was part of a charity, which is for children mending hearts. That actually is a wonderful idea. Sometimes, like for charities, I'll donate background checks, for my nieces and stuff, charity things at their schools. Here's what it says about Capricorn Clark. A native of California, she is the quintessential girl. Before moving to New York in 2000, she worked at Def Jam, at Magic Johnson Enterprises, and BET Films. Once in New York, she worked at DeMassimo brand advertising. While there, she handled the Plaza Hotel, Crunch Fitness, and Hotwire. In 2001, she became the TV production manager at Crossroads, a prominent production company where she managed projects for HBO, da 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 da. The skills she had by this point attracted a headhunter who had seen her resume online. The job was for Diddy. For nearly 5 years, she was the personal liaison to Sean Combs, where she handled all the day-to-day functionality of both Mr. Combs' various business endeavors and her active personal life. Over the years, she managed many of the Combs brand's events. She handled the Unforgivable Men's launches in America, France, and London, the premiere of HBO's Bad Boys of Comedies, CFDA events, and his white parties. She also worked on the historic Vote or Die campaign with Mr. Combs to secure bold-faced support to encourage youth voting. She briefly left Bad Boy and permanently left her days as an assistant to take a position at Sony BMG as a consultant for strategic and product marketing. She was assigned Sierra and the R. Kelly, amongst others, to be the project lead. Okay, she worked for R. Kelly, and she just be attracting these types, bless her heart. Under her guidance, Sierra's project, The Evolution, entered the Billboard chart at #1, beating Eminem and Gwen Stefani. She was really good at what she did. She also created R. Kelly TV, a set of 21 episodes of up-close personal moments with the artist that became a major connection point and poured her to him and his fans. Bless her heart. And this is then after a call from Combs one day when it was time to relaunch Sean John Women's line. She returned to Bad Boy and specifically Sean John to begin a new journey working with Combs. At Sean John, she successfully launched the Sean John brand into the women's arena, signing Cassie and Lauren London to lead the moment. She created campaigns that sparked a change in the landscape of urban female advertising. At her success with Sean John, Capricorn Clark executed the campaign and secured 14 brand licenses in 2008. Currently, she lives in Manhattan and has been promoted to global brand director for Sean Combs for the past 3 years, managing Diddy's personal brand. She oversees his likeness and direction for the portfolio of brands he has. Let me see when this was. We can't tell when this was, but all right, let's get back to the testimony. Here we are. Lordy. It says, who else did you speak with? Capricorn Clark. She sounded nearly in tears. What did she say? That Combs was in the car near my house. Objection overruled. You called Sean Combs. I did. He said, I'm over here waiting for you. When you arrived, what did the outside look like? Pretty normal. Any security camera? Yes. But I found out they weren't working. What the fuck? Sorry, what the fart? But the security cameras had been moved. Did you move them? No. What did you see inside your home? Gifts were open. Some stuff I got from Chanel, and my dog was locked up in the bathroom. How did you usually leave your dog? I would let him roam. How long had you had your dog? 3 years. What changes of behavior did you see with your dog after the break-in? Jittery, on edge all the time. Remember, that was part of what they argued about this morning, about whether or not it could come in. So let's just recap. Let's be clear on this. What they're saying, what he is testifying to, is that Diddy calls him and says, I'm at your house. No. He calls Diddy and Diddy says, I'm at your house. So then he goes to his house and he sees it's been broke into. Let me make sure I have the order correct. You called Sean. He said, I did. Let me put this bigger. You called Sean. He said, I did. He said, I'm over here waiting for you. When you arrived, what did the outside look like? Pretty normal. Any security cameras? Yes, but I found out they weren't working. But the cameras had been moved. Did you move them? No. What did you see in your house? Gifts were open, stuff from Chanel. The dog was locked up in the bathroom. Basically, he wanted to let him know. See, that is a mind uck, okay? That is a mind uckery. He wanted this man to know, I can come in your stuff whenever you want. I am coming for you. You better leave Cassie alone. That is my property. Cassie is my property. Don't you touch my stuff. Keep your hands to yourself. Keep your baby oil to yourself. Keep your Astroglide to yourself. That is wild. That's wild. Diddy is a monster. He was terrorizing animals at that. They didn't say he hurt his animal anyway. Actually, I think that was kind of nice that he did put his dog, he locked his dog into the bathroom is what they said. He broke into his house, messed up his stuff. He's playing mind games. And I think mind games are the most disturbing because if you think about it now, okay, so I kept this question on the screen. Attorney Simone, could the prosecutor bring up Kid Cudi's mental health? So the issue is they could, but the bigger question is, could the defense use it to be like, let's dismiss what he's saying? This man is crazy. If it were going to be discussed, if anything, if I were prosecution, if there were records, I might talk about the fact that this messed with him so much, he had to go to therapy afterwards. Maybe he got his own pow-pow. Maybe he got a pow-pow license, that kind of thing. All right, here we go. He says, the dog was jittery, on edge all the time. He said, I got back and I called Sean again. I was looking for him. I wanted to fight him, you know. Did he answer? Yeah. He said, I'm on my way. I thought to myself, objection, grounds, non-responsive, overruled. Ask a new question. When you saw Cassie, how did she seem? Go back to the question. What did he think to himself? I want to know when Combs said I'm coming over. My issue would be Combs never does anything by himself. So Combs is going to come with his goons. Do you got goons, Cudi? Or you going to pull a Rocky Red Wine and be in your house, invite him, let him take one step in the doorway and blow his situation apart? And it says, ask a new question. When you saw Cassie, how did she seem? Depressed. Did you see Cassie in Connecticut? Yeah, she needed it. Did Mr. Combs call you? Yeah, he hit me a few times. Called me. What did you say? That I didn't want to talk with him. He broke into my house and hurt my dog. Oh, he did hurt the dog. Oh, I'm understanding now. I missed that. The dog was jittery because he hurt him in some capacity and locked him in the bathroom. Okay. And they clearly locked him in the restroom to ensure the dog wasn't going to bite him or whatever. Did you and Miss Ventura break up? Yes. What about your car? My dog's babysitter called me and told me my car was on fire. Somebody said like this. Y'all play too much. Y'all play too much. I hate y'all. So they said my dog's babysitter called and told me my car was on fire. Like this. Why they playing too much? Legally, let me break this part down to you. I understand. Yeah, Cudi can fight. Cudi he can fight. And here's the thing. Diddy has never in his life fought anybody one-on-one. Diddy fights with goons. But I do want to make this part clear. Some people are like, y'all, this is what's called direct evidence, direct testimony. It is not hearsay. There's a lot of people like to throw that around and be like, well, if Cudi just gets up there and he says, excuse me, and he says, Diddy blew up his car, but there's no proof of that. This is, yeah. Pardon me. Sorry, guys. Hold on 1 second. I need y'all to see this. I put on some pants for y'all today. A lot of times I'm only top up. Here, let's hit this refresh. But I want you to understand, this is direct evidence. This is not hearsay. He says, what did you say? Sorry. We already did that one. My dog's babysitter called and told me my car was on fire. Where were you? At a relative of my ex-girlfriend. Where did you go? To my house. 8925 Hollywood Hills Road. Hold on, we were finna see it. I want to see it. Let me show you 6 pictures. Do you recognize them? It says my Porsche. Hold on. Sorry, y'all come here because I'm a lawyer, right? Y'all come here because I'm a lawyer. I'm gonna give you my first thoughts, y'all, as an injury lawyer. I am a lawyer that represent victims such as Cassie. My first thoughts, what I would have did in this, make that insurance claim with your insurance. If you have full coverage, you make that insurance claim and you tell them, Sean Puffy Combs did this. The reason you do that, if there's somebody who don't ever want to have to pay out on a claim, it's claims for arson vehicles. Because they never want to play out, because whenever a car is set on fire, it's almost always some form of insurance fraud. But if he's able to say, hey, it was Sean Combs, I'm so curious about it, because if he had, I think it could have gone further. But I'm looking forward to hearing. Let me refresh. Let's hear. I would be so curious if he filed an insurance claim and if they paid it. Because when I tell you State Farm would be over there trying to get Diddy so that they don't have to pay the claim. I wouldn't be surprised if Diddy slid somebody some money, though, to make it go away. All right, we're still waiting for that update, but I found the house. Y'all, Kid Cudi had Monty. Let me show y'all real quick while we're waiting for an update. The house was $2.1 million. Oh, that's a tiny little baby. That's only 1,700 square feet. That's my condo. Mine is 3 bedrooms, though. That's 2 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, 2.1 million. Ooh, that's a pretty little thing, though. That looks bigger than 1,700 square feet. Look at that. Yeah. Oh, that's pretty. Look at that. Okay, well, the furniture is ugly, but we're waiting for an update. That's beautiful. I see why he liked it. God, dog. His Porsche. Where were you? I was at a relatives of my ex-girlfriend. Where did you go? To my house. Let me show you 6 pictures. Do you recognize them? That man done lit his Porsche up. I need to get that. He said, my car was on fire. That person said, like this? Y'all are terrible people. They is in Diddy. So in other words, okay, and going back, as we are waiting, we're going back to the text. So the prosecution wouldn't want to necessarily bring in Kid Cudi's mental health issues unless it's to say, Diddy caused them. Then you could do, that Diddy caused them, and then on cross, of course, the defense is going to be like, no, you were always nuts or something like that. So at the end of the day, it's difficult to bring in someone's mental health unless it's directly relevant to the claims. And here it doesn't appear to be. Yes, someone said Diddy is a crime boss. That's crime boss material. Okay, the pictures. They said, do you recognize these pictures? He said, that is the damage to my Porsche from the Molotov cocktail. Who took these pictures? Chip, a good friend and collaborator. What is depicted here? The hole they cut in the roof of my car. He had, I think it was a convertible, to put in the Molotov cocktail. Y'all, my daddy know how to make them. Don't ask me how I know. You know how I know? My granddaddy told me a story of him using it. This lady was bothering my granny. She kept coming to my granny's house. And my daddy said, leave my family alone. And They didn't leave my granny alone. Daddy put a Molotov cocktail through their car. He put it up underneath her car. And it blew up. At the Way Apartments. Y'all know, if you from Oak Cliff, you know the Way Apartments. Sure did. Blew that sucker up. Tell that lady, leave my granny alone. Her boyfriend came to the house. Her boyfriend came to my granddaddy's house, telling him, I'm looking for Rocky. If my granddaddy told him, you might find him, but you don't want to see him. You might find him, but you don't want to see him. Sure did. Sure did. Don't do that. My daddy said, don't mess with his family. You don't mess with us. He'll blow your car up. It says, they cut a hole in the roof of my car from on top, but nobody got injured. Nobody got injured. He did it at night. You know the apartments? Yes. Sandra says she know what I'm talking about. They off Hampton. Yes. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I can't make this stuff up, y'all. I cannot make it up. Y'all, I'm hitting refresh consistently, I promise. All right. It was the hole they cut in the roof for the Molotov cocktail. What was your reaction to your car being set on fire? He said, what the F? Objection. Overruled. In other words, the judge says, I don't blame you. He said, what the F? I don't think you understand how that would resonate with a juror. Like a regular, everyday juror would be like, yo, me too. They asked him, and he just told the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. What was your reaction to your car being set on fire? What the F? And he said the whole word. That's gonna make one of the jurors be like, oh yeah, I can relate. Somebody said, Zinga said, Diddy is funny. Why are you blowing people's car up? They got a Molotov cocktail. Is this World War II? No, you can make them pretty easily. Diddy is about that life. Kid Cudi wasn't. Kid Cudi still sounds traumatized. Girl, this is your channel. Run how you want. Thank you. Y'all hit that subscribe. We need 2,500 more subscribers to get to 55K. Let's get to 55K. I think we can do it together. He said, what the F? Judge overruled break. This is just a break. I'm not going anywhere. Okay, because it's like 11:15 there. They usually go till noon-ish. Y'all, that is, and it's only about 11:15 there. Y'all, that's a lot. Oh, what the F? That's a good place to break. Y'all. This man has been through it. And I really do feel like I feel like Diddy probably did blackball his career, did tell people, because think about it. Diddy could be like, you're not working with anyone on my label if you work with Cudi. And then that would be the end of Cudi. I don't even know who Cudi was signed to back then. Let me see. Let's see. Who was he signed to? Who? I think it was something related to Kanye. So I don't know. Let's see. Kid Cudi. Its release helped Cudi rise to prominence and establish. He's a good-looking guy, too. He's born and raised in Cleveland. Oh, my gosh. Moved to New York City in pursuit. Day and night. I remember that. Okay, he's 41 years old. That's a good-looking gentleman, boy. Jeez. Oh, he was signed to Good Music with Kanye. Kanye, get that boy back. No, Kanye's worse than him. Shh. Not worse than him. I don't mean like that, Cudi. I'm sorry. But you don't want to be you don't want nothing to do with Kanye. That man is not okay. Maybe, God, what's that young man I just love? Chance the Rapper. Do some more stuff with Chance the Rapper. I want you to come on back. Come on, Cudi. It's time. Come on. Let's have you come on back. Maybe get you some good acting roles. All right, y'all, let's just recap what we just processed. Oh. April said, I always loved Kid Cudi. Simone Diddy's father. Let me play that. Simone Diddy's father was a big-time gangster and hitting pow pows. Also, his dad has ties to BMF. Diddy did not want that past to be brought to life. His fake persona, like Jay-Z, aka, was to go legit. All right, so let's just recap what we've established. All right, we've got the RICO offenses. I'm going to put them back on the screen. Y'all know I love going back to the facts. Let's focus on what needs to be proven from RICO. We are here. This is our homeboy, RICO. RICO is the focus. Going back to RICO with Mr. RICO. Again, there's the underlying, there's a predicate offenses. There are 8. What is it? 8 there. Okay. They only have to prove 2 of the 8 occurred within 10 years. What they mean by on a continuous basis simply means like, it can't just be like one here, one there, but like where people were doing fixer kind of things, or people were being instructed to do unlawful things on behalf of Diddy for a common purpose. Here, it has been established the common purpose was to protect Diddy's brand and image and to make him happy at all times. Literally, making Diddy happy is a common purpose. It is literally legally sufficient. Making Diddy happy is a legally sufficient common purpose for a racketeering enterprise. We know it's an enterprise. How? Because it's called Sean Combs Enterprises. So then the question becomes, okay, but are they doing anything unlawful? And if they're able to prove at least 2 of the 10, then that's considered unlawful stuff. So again, it was multiple acts of kidnapping. We haven't seen that yet. Arson was actually at the bottom of this one. Today was the arson testimony. And I want to get into your thoughts on how good or not good so far this arson testimony is. I want to see it in the chat. Multiple acts of bribery, that was related to the hotel so far. We've seen that. It can be other things as well. Tampering with a witness or a victim. Tampering with a witness or a victim. We definitely saw that regarding the hotel as well. The hotel workers, how they made the tape go away. That's tampering with a witness because they then silenced those witnesses. Relating to forced labor. We've seen a little bit. It's been implied, insinuated, but I don't think we've seen any hardcore. Dawn talked about not getting any sleep. She talked about being past substances, but that she didn't take any. So I'm going to say we're not there yet on forced labor. S trafficking. We all have gone through Cassie's testimony. And I think there are a lot of people, especially those of us that weren't in the courtroom, who are saying 50-50, it could go either way. So I am analyzing this as though S trafficking hasn't proven. The question is, can they get to RICO? And the answer is yes. We've seen arson testimony, bribery, tampering with witnesses, plural. We've also seen the transportation for prostitution. People are like, who are the prostitutes? The prostitutes. The prostitutes. The Punisher was a prostitute. David Phillips was a prostitute. He told you. Both of them were hookers. And they got paid to do their deal. That was the easiest part that was proven. Multiple offenses, and then possession with intent to distribute, or just the distribution of narcs or controlled substances. That distribution was proven because multiple assistants got on the stand and said Diddy would order controlled substances and have me go get them. They said X, K, the big K word, kind of mean. That stuff. It was done. And quote, yes, that they had to commit at least 2 activities in the conduct of the affairs of him. So we now have arson. So we've now got arson, bribery, witness tampering, prostitution, and we've got the distribution of narcotics. I want to hear though. I'm looking at the comments. I want to hear y'all's thoughts on the arson evidence so far. Simone, okay, we already did that one. The arson evidence so far. I want to be clear. This is called direct testimony. This is called direct evidence. The fact that a person got on there and said, he told me he's at my house waiting for me, and then I get to the house and my house has been broken into. Now that was direct evidence of a break-in. I'll say this. That was direct evidence of a break-in. And we have circumstantial evidence of the arson. A juror can say It wasn't proven to me without a reasonable doubt. They have every right. And best believe on the cross-examination, they're going to tear up into that. They're going to get all up in that. It says, Diddy became a bigger gangster than his father. Scary. I think that's because Diddy had more money than his daddy. It said arson was done on a personal level. I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that. Let's add it. But the arson was done on a personal level, not in regards to business that I can see. I'm so glad you said that, Abby. Excellent question. Oh, you'd be an excellent law student. So it doesn't matter if it was personal. Remember because he didn't do it himself. Likely he had, first of all, it was to make him happy personally, but that's the goal of the enterprise. Remember, we talked about it. The goal of the enterprise is, they even told one of Diddy's assistants, Diddy is like our king. The goal is to make him happy. So when you say it was done on a personal level, so we want to distance ourselves. You're probably analogizing it to like the mafia, where the mafia's goal is sell substances, make money. Here, that's not the goal. The goal is not for the enterprise to make money. So that's where it's different. The goal is for the enterprise to make Diddy happy. And you know what makes Diddy happy? Cassie coming back to him. Cassie not being with somebody else. Yes, to protect his ego. It was to protect his ego. So he had instructing one of your minions, right? It would, or protect his brand. How dare his girl be now seen with someone else in the industry? That makes me look weak as Diddy. That makes me look weak. He did have one of his minions. And the fact that he instructed someone else to do it is good enough. So even if they're having him do his personal stuff, that's also why the distribution of the substances, that was happening at freak-offs and parties. Freak-offs were not for a business purpose. I think we can agree on that, right? Freak-offs had no business purpose whatsoever. He just enjoyed that personally. The freak-off wasn't the problem. The distribution of the substances is, and allegedly having Cassie do it when she didn't want to would be, right? Again, we're kind of putting the S trafficking to the side just for this particular explanation. It's a group of people doing criminal stuff for their bosses. Thank you, Stalin Twins. You got it. I think it was more than that, though. That's one of the reasons, though. Oh, the branding. It wasn't personal because his co-conspirators did it. Well, even if it was, so it can be. So remember, the goal is a common goal. It doesn't have to be for a business purpose. I do see, though, naturally, when you think of an enterprise, you think of a business. Let me just double check and see if we're back from break. When you think of an enterprise, you think of a business. And this is a business, but it doesn't have to have a business purpose. Literally, it is sufficient that the purpose is to keep Diddy looking good, y'all. Keep him looking like a king. Don't make it look like he's weak where somebody else thinks they can move in on the industry. You still have to prove he did it. And you can do that with circumstantial evidence, which they're doing here. So all that needs to take place is that a juror can connect the dots. So the best way to describe circumstantial evidence is that let's say you've got a 50-piece puzzle. If you've ever done a puzzle, you got a 50-piece puzzle. And in doing that 50-piece puzzle, you lose 2 of the pieces. Maybe you lose 5 of the pieces. But you got enough pieces there to know that at the end of the day, this puzzle is a fire truck. That's what circumstantial evidence is. You don't have all the pieces, but you have enough to be able to put them together. And that without those 3 missing pieces, you are still able to look at this puzzle and be like, oh, this is a fire truck. I'm putting together a photo of a fire truck. I don't know if that helps. Somebody said Kid Cudi's an actor, so he could be acting. Capricorn Clark was an employee, and she was made to participate and breaking and entering by her boss, Diddy. That's right. Capricorn did call him and say, look, Diddy is at your house, girl. Kid Cudi is helping building it. He is helping building it. Bring to the court the person who did it. They could, Anais, they sure could, but they don't have to. They could bring to court the people who knew how it was coordinated. They can do it either way. So Capricorn Clark, when she takes the stand, she's likely going to testify as to what she knew of, what she heard, what was said before, what was said after those things. Allegedly, he kidnapped her in the car and got upset with her for not telling Diddy that Cassie was with him. Allegedly. We will see. I want some crawfish. It says he treated Cassie as a traffic SW for his own entertainment. First, he influenced her into it with their relationship. Okay, no problem. Then coerced her with assault. Okay. With assault, extortion, substances, and blackmail. Also, isn't Cassie his employee? She is. This case seems like a man attempting to control his girlfriends. Has nothing to do with business. Doesn't have to. If the way you control your girlfriends is committing arson, it's a criminal enterprise. Specifically, if the way you control your girlfriends is directing your employees to commit arson, directing your employees to sell drugs, directing your employees to hire national prostitutes, and directing your employees into forced labor, it's a criminal enterprise. It's RICO. Thank you, truth teller. Control makes him happy. Woo! Hurting a dog. Yeah. That arson was actually done by his bodyguard, so it's not personal. Okay, I see. So I definitely don't think, remember, I'm going to see if I can put it on the screen. Let me get it. He never does his own dirty work. Can you blame him? I don't blame him. If I were that rich, I wouldn't either. He always wants to, I'm going to put this on the screen. While we're waiting, we are on break. There's a break. Kid Cudi has been testifying. Oh, I got to put this up for you guys. You got to remember this. This is what I'm putting up here. This is the text message. This is the email from December 11. That's right then in this period from Cassie to her mama when Cassie was on the airplane. I'm going to read it to you guys. I want you, the language matters. Subject matter is threats she copied Capricorn Clark. The threats that have been made towards me by Sean Puffy Combs are that he is going to release 2 explicit X tapes of me. One on Christmas Day. God damn, that's cruel. That's cruel. One on Christmas Day and maybe one before or right after, and another one sometime soon after. He also said he will be having someone hurt me and Kid Cudi physically. He made a point that it wouldn't be by his hands. He actually said he'd be out of the country when it happened. He would be out of the country when it happened. This is what a criminal enterprise looks like, y'all. Whether this is to S-traffic her or any other, this is extortion. What this is showing is his mode of operation. Remember, the means and modes, one thing you got to show with RICO is the means and modes of operation, which is the equivalent of, this is how we do it. What he's showing is how he does it is that he directs staff to do his dirty work while he creates an alibi elsewhere. Yes, it is RICO. And yes, I saw the CC to Capricorn Clark. In other words, his staff was fully aware that she was fearful of him. Diddy definitely sold the video and all of that. No way he paid for all that, had lighting and all of that for, quote, nothing. Someone says it's hearsay. So this was allowed into court because apparently the judge found it's not. Isn't that RICO? It's definitely RICO. It is RICO Suave in this piece. I'm not understanding what the confusion is over him operating an enterprise. Well, I think sometimes the jurors, the people we've got kind of in the chat, some people kind of jump in. You know, people got jobs. They ain't got time to just sit on the internet all day. They got jobs. They jump in and they're kind of figuring out what's going on or learning aspects of the case. And then they read headlines. I do feel like Diddy's team has done a really good job of controlling the media, controlling the narrative, and making those headlines that look like, guys, there's nothing to see here. The part sent me. Yes. Marin Foster said, this part sent me. How dare he do that to her parents? You know, some have said that it likely could have been he didn't think where he was then demanding the $20,000 from her parents. We're waiting on everyone to return from break, guys. Some have said it was because he didn't think the parents would have the money and they would be so scared they send their daughter back from. Okay, we are back. We are back. All right. Let's remove this. We're going to go back. Here we are. Before the jurors are back, the judge says, will you finish the witness today? Prosecutor says, yes, although the cross of him was 3 times longer than we thought. The jury, they said, yeah, we will. It says, although the cross of Mr. Kaplan was 3 times longer than we thought. The jury is entering. Was the damage on your car present before the call from the dog sitter? No. As in the fire? No. Did you think it was accidental or intentional? Intentional. Where did you last see Miss Ventura? At the Soho House. I'd reached out to Sean Combs and said, let's talk. This is getting out of hand. Brian Steele, can we have a sidebar? Do you have an objection? Yes. Sustained. Disregard and move on. Sustained means he is agreeing with the objection and therefore he's just saying move on. And what he's objecting to is the fact that he said, I told him, let's talk. That's hearsay to say, I told him, let's talk. This is getting out of hand. Okay. Moving on. Because the judge is like, we ain't got time to sidebar every 10 minutes. Like, keep it moving. Prosecutor, who set up the meeting at Soho House? D-Rock and my manager. All right. What was Mr. Combs doing? Kid Cudi, standing there like a Marvel supervillain. He said, wait, Kid Cudi said Diddy was standing there like a Marvel supervillain, y'all. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. Standing there like a Marvel supervillain. He said, we were homies. You know, that's my girl. What did you say? I thought y'all broke up. Then Sean Combs offered me water twice. You better not drink that water. You better not drink that water. That water is going to be laced with stuff that's going to have your booty itching. And it might even throw it open. You better not drink that water. Oh, okay. You better not drink that water. I thought you had broken up. Then Sean offered me water twice. It must have been twice because he must have said no. Don't you better not drink that water. That man will poison you so quick, fast, in a hurry. You can't do that. You know better. I am so irritated. Hold on. All right, we need this low. We need this update. We need that update. Oh, Jesus. What the heck? All right. All right, let's see. Good for him on not drinking it. All right, we need the update. I need to know. Please confirm you did not drink it. All right. He said it was weird. He said he offered me water twice. He said it was weird. Sean Combs being so calm. What did Cassie say? That we have fallen in love. Things happened. What did you say to Mr. Combs? I said, what about my car? He said, I don't know what you're talking about. I walked away. What did Cassie say? Cassie said, "We have fallen in love. Things happen." As in the two of them fell in love. Lord, Lord. All right, Kid Cudi, who described himself as an actor musician, he said he understood that she and Combs had some problems, but they were not dating anymore. Child. Okay, the prosecutor is saying that they're on track to call all the witnesses that they plan to call for the day. Kemi said George Kaplan's cross took 3 times as long as anticipated, but they still think they will get through this witness, Kid Cudi, today. Cudi said his Porsche was damaged by the Molotov cocktail and could not be salvaged after the damage. He said law enforcement found the Molotov cocktail in the driver's seat, but once he arrived at his home, it was just kind of burnt up on the ground near the vehicle. When asked his reaction, he deadpan responded, "What the heck? What the F?" Jury looks at photos of the car after it was damaged in that fire. The fire was January, y'all, of 2012. So he went with Cassie and like saw her family and everything Christmas of 2011, and that happened to the car in 2012. It says, again, Combs said, "What did you say?" As Mr. Combs, it said, "What about my car?" He said, "I don't know what you're talking about." Did you see Combs later? A few years later, also at Soho House. He said, "I'm just sorry for all that BS. I was surprised, so I found peace with it. No further questions." Judge, Mr. Steele? Mr. Steele says, "I want to ask you some questions about your Porsche in 2022. And Miss Cudi says 2012. He says, "I apologize. You get a call about damage to your vehicle. Any surveillance photos? No. My dog's babysitter did send me pictures of the damage." All right. Child. He said the Porsche cannot be salvaged after the damage following the fire, and that law enforcement found the actual Molotov cocktail in the driver's seat. But once he got to the house, that it was just kind of burnt up. When he asked his reaction, he said, "What the F?" Child. It says the last time Cudi saw Cassie Ventura was at a private club in LA, according to CNN. Cudi has testified last time Kid Cudi saw Cassie was at a private club in LA a few days after his car was damaged in the fire in 2012. He reached out to Diddy after the fire and, quote, finally told him we needed to meet up to talk. He had been wanting to talk to me. So after the fire, I was like, this is getting out of hand. I need to talk to him. So it sounds like, okay, Diddy wanted to talk to him. And so he was finally ready to talk once Diddy lit that sucker on fire. So it sounds like Diddy was like, "Oh, okay, you don't want to talk? You ain't got nothing to say to me? Cool, let me get your attention." Bam! They asked him, "You got a call about damages, any surveillance photos?" "No, my dog's babysitter did send me pictures of the damage. The DNA taken, are you aware it came back being female?" Objection, no foundation, sustained. "Do you know there were DNA results?" "I'll allow that." "No." Oh, guys. Oh, I bet they are trying to imply maybe it was Capricorn Clark who did it. But there was female DNA. It says, oh, Jalez said, "And your girlfriend is your employee." Allegedly, what somebody said, female. Yes. Female. That was, first of all, that was a very slick way to get it in, even though it was objected to. So what just happened is Kid Cudi has been on the stand this morning. He testified that when he first got with Cassie, he was informed from Cassie that she had dated Diddy before, but that they were broken up and that they had problems in their relationship, whatever that meant. He had known her from like 2008-ish, And they didn't start dating until 2011. But then after they started dating, he gets a call from Capricorn Clark that's like, hey, Diddy's at your house. Then he gets a call from Diddy. He was like, hey, I'm at your house. He pulls up to his own home and his house has been broken into. His dog has been hurt. His dog has been locked into a bathroom. He didn't do that. And that his stuff was rummaged through while Diddy is sitting outside of his house. Diddy was trying to drive him nuts, it appears. That doesn't oh, that's right. Someone said that doesn't mean Diddy didn't pay somebody to do it, a female at that. So that's why I put on the screen. Can y'all hit that subscribe button, please? We are doing so good. I really appreciate it. And the like. So that does not mean, y'all, because I put on the screen previously. Oh yeah, y'all. We need to do that. Subscribe, y'all. We need like 2,300 more people and we'll hit our goal. But that means that Diddy never does the thing himself, whatever it is that needs to get done, whatever it is. And that's why I had put on the screen, let me hit refresh. I had put the text message from Cassie where he specifically told her, I'm not doing it at my hands, whatever needs to get done. So they asked him. Steele is asking Kid Cudi, did you know there were DNA results? He says, no. Miss Ventura, she told you it was over? He said, we just stopped talking. You told this honorable court and this jury that she played you. Yes, she played you and you had no clue. No clue. Somebody said plot twist. Cassie was trying to make Puff jealous and did Kid Cudi dirty. Oh, hell no. Nah. I don't know that she was trying to make him jealous. I think it could have been, but I also think it could be this was one of her many attempts to date somebody who might actually like her and take her seriously. Yes, my background is a prison. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just trying to set the tone. Somebody asked, why does your background look like a prison? Uh-oh, Skylife said there is no proof. Why? Why Fear the Chicken Hawk said it was Mary J. Blige who did it. It was female DNA. Allegedly. We don't know, actually. So the way that he slid that in there, we don't actually know that that's true. Because specifically what he said is, did you know there was female DNA? Objection. The objection was then sustained. Then he just said, did you know there was DNA? And he said no. And then it sounds like they moved on. Kid Cudi is now testifying about the meeting with Diddy and his car being damaged. He said when he first walked in the meeting, he was alone with Combs. He said Sean Combs, this is from CNN, Sean Combs was standing there, staring out the window with his hands behind his back, like a Marvel supervillain. He said they went on to discuss Cudi's relationship with Cassie. We discussed pretty much the whole story about how me and Cassie first started to date, to what it was, to how it ended, he testified. Cudi said he told Combs he'd taken Ventura's word that the two of them were broke up when she told him that she and Combs were over. And I also believe that there's a good chance that she did think that they were over, but she don't really want it. She didn't really want it to be over, it appeared. Hit that subscribe button, guys. Let's get those likes up. No, this is nutty. This is nutty. He's doing a good job. What do you guys think of his testimony? I think he's coming across believable. I think his little quips where were they like, well, what did you think after your car was set on fire? He was like, what the F? It makes him seem very regular, relatable. I also think him saying right here, you told the court she played you. Yeah, she played you and that you had no clue. I would feel played too if you know I'm in an industry where this person can affect my business and you're not actually done with this person, or at least this person doesn't think they're done with you. Y'all, that's why I don't ask men, do you have a girlfriend? I say, do you have anybody that thinks they're your girlfriend? They say, no. I say, you got anybody that thinks they're your wife? Anybody that thinks that y'all are engaged or on their way? I don't care if you think you have a girlfriend. I want to know, is there somebody that might be busting my windows thinking they're your girlfriend? Guilt by association. That's true. They can fingerprint items and tie them to lies or true. So, but part of the challenge is that with DNA and Molotov cocktails, that's what this was. Whenever you're dealing with fire, fire often makes fingerprints, it makes it difficult to obtain fingerprints. In addition, when they say, okay, DNA is male or female, we don't know how many police officers handled that evidence. Because if someone handled it and they didn't have the proper gloves or didn't have gloves, that could be why there was female DNA on there. Anything is possible. But I think ultimately it's up to the jury to decide beyond a reasonable doubt, do they feel that the arson was likely committed by any human at Diddy's direction, or was it just a little kawinky dink? A kawinky dink. Here we go. Let's update it. All right, we still waiting. Just a little kawinky dink. What do y'all think? Y'all think Kid Cudi did it? Or y'all think it was a coincidence? Wouldn't the police have told Cudi a DNA test was done? It depends on where they are with it. So I would have liked to know, did you file an insurance claim? Did you tell your insurance Diddy did it? I believe he filed the insurance claim, but I don't think he probably told them that Diddy did it. Here's why. I have a lot of clients who, when I'll talk to them about stuff like that, I'll be like, well, did you tell them who you thought did it? He was like, well, I don't have any proof. That's not the question. Stop being Perry Mason. You watch too much TV. When you're dealing with insurance companies and it's something like that where they're going to have to pay out to replace probably what was like $100,000 Porsche, you just give them a name. They literally, insurance companies have an entire division for fraud where literally they hire former detectives, former cops, former arson investigators, and all they do is look for ways to make whatever it is a crime so they don't have to pay, or a crime where they pay out, but then the insurance company would get reimbursed. If he thought that this was Diddy, one of the questions on the defense I'd say is, you're claiming here, you're implying that Diddy had something to do with this. Did you tell your insurance company that when you made the claim? No. Oh, how much did you get back for the car? Oh, $100,000. $100,000. You got $100,000 for an alleged arson to your car, but you didn't tell them who you thought set your car on fire? And a lot of times insurance companies want to know too, because the insurance companies almost always assume if a car is set on fire, that it's insurance fraud. Almost always. Almost always. There we go. All right, let's see. We got to update. All right. Miss Ventura told you that it was over. He says, she played you and you had no clue. He said, no clue. Mr. Steele asked, in 2011, you went on a tour. Yes. 65 locations. Yes. At that time, Sean Combs was an icon, fair to say. Yes. You and Miss Ventura had an actual relationship. Objection. Sidebar. What y'all sidebarring about? Sidebar. Yeah, so the defense is saying that the DNA taken from Kid Cudi's damaged car belonged to a woman. On cross, they testified. It like literally your attorney is not supposed to testify. So they're not supposed to make statements like that. But he was able to get it in. Well, he said it and then it was over and then it was sustained. So technically it should have been instructed to strike that last comment, but they did not. It said Kid Cudi said he didn't hear any follow-up from authorities about the results of the DNA test. Yeah, they wouldn't. Cops aren't going to tell you anything. My car was broken into. My Maserati. Oh, it actually just got totaled. I went over there today to get all my stuff out of it. My Maserati got totaled. Got broken into. And I told the cops, I said, I want y'all to do fingerprints, because I was looking at the car and I could see there was some type of fingerprints. They like busted the windows and took stuff out of it. When they busted the windows, you could see fingerprints there. So I had the cops do that. They never told me. I was like, hello, what are the results? And they're like, oh, I don't know. Like, I don't think we matched them to anything. You don't think I wasn't going to say nothing? Kid Cudi said they just stopped talking with Miss Ventura after the relationship ended. He testified they just stopped talking after being in contact almost every day for about a year. And then he said, she played you, right? He said, yeah. Sounds like he was hurt by it. He was like, you done got me wrapped up in your foolishness. And then you just play me. Then you just ghost me, effectively. He didn't say ghost. He did not say ghost. He just said they just stopped talking after being in contact almost every day. But interesting, it's not like he's saying, I kept reaching out to her and then she started ignoring it. It sounds like what I'm not clear about is if the sit down with Diddy was after he had already stopped talking to Cassie. It appears that it was. Okay, after the sidebar, Mr. Steele, can I judge? No, you can do that on redirect. Steele, do you want to tell me something? Sean Combs asked about me doing a song with Miss Ventura in 2010. Thank you. Well, that was nice of Mr. Steele. I ain't giving nobody a chance to volunteer nothing that's going to make them look better. Nope. Get somebody else to do it. Better get the prosecutor to do it. Nope. I make $2,000 an hour to make you look bad, not good. Get somebody else to do it. But that wasn't a bad thing. He just said, Diddy asked me about doing a song with her in 2010. Okay. See, that actually is helpful. That's helpful to the defense. That was helpful. Let's talk about why. The reason that's helpful to the defense. Hey, can you please, y'all hit the subscribe button. Sorry, I'm getting too many work calls at one time. Hit the subscribe button. But the reason why that's helpful to the defense is because they're going to use it to say, Diddy just felt played. Cassie's running around playing men left and right is how the defense can play it. They're going to say, Diddy set her up with him to do a song the year before, and then now behind Diddy's back, she starts sleeping with him. What type of freaky deaky stuff is this? She's just out here laying it low and spreading it wide. That's what he's going to say, spreading it wide. They're going to say she played Cudi and she played Diddy, and she plays any man in her path. And she even played her own husband. Had him FaceTiming her while she's getting it on with Diddy. See? There's a lot to it that they can use there. So that actually could have been helpful. So let's see what more questions they got on cross. I think they're going to switch over to recross shortly. They got a little bit. We probably got about maybe 30 more minutes until they go to lunch, if that. They're probably going to find like a good little stopping point. Yeah, poor Kid Cudi. I want him to win. He's good to look at. Yeah, on FaceTime. Somebody says FaceTime. Yeah, she had started dating Alex Fine, and then Diddy came over. They were consensually intimate on this day, allegedly. And Alex had FaceTimed her. She didn't answer, but she was allegedly in the middle of being intimate with Puff when he FaceTimed her. Whenever I heard that story, though, I was like, how the hell did the defense know this story? I guess she must have told it to the prosecution, but like, I would have never told that story to anyone. I don't see how that story was relevant to anything or helpful. Yeah. Cassie he asked about a song to dominate Cassie. It says he never let her put out music. Oh, well, yeah, he didn't let her put out music, right? Well, those kind of men, they want you to be financially dependent on him. So of course, if she has her own money, she don't have to take his stuff. Because remember, he would take her car, he'd take her phone. Taking my phone, that'd do it for me. Because I got people to talk to. You get on my nerves. Who am I going to call? I got to call somebody and talk shit about you. I got to call my girlfriends and talk crap about you. I can't do that if you take my phone. Give me my phone back so I can talk about you behind your back like a decent human being. Here we go. Sidebar. Okay, there we go. Next, Mr. Steele says, you believe they left your front door unlocked? Yes. So no forced entry? No. Just presents opened, door in the bathroom. I'm not belittling, just asking. You called Sean Combs? Yes. Was he calm? Yes. You believe they left your front door unlocked. Oh, I think he's implying that whenever he left the house previously, it was unlocked and that someone from Diddy's camp. No. Mr. Steele is not implying it was Diddy at all. His implication is you don't even lock your door. You don't know who came in that house. He said there was no forced entry. He said no. And there was just presents opened. The door in the bathroom, I guess, was locked with the dog in there. And he's saying, I'm not belittling what you experienced. I'm just asking. He said, you called Sean and Sean was calm. Let me tell you, I'm calm too when I've just won a war. I'm real calm. Why would I cuss you out and not just won? I don't know. Mr. Combs said, you believe they left your front door unlocked. So that was a really good one on cross. In other words, anybody could have came in there. That was a $2 million. It's $2 million today. Who knows what it was back then? I'm sure it was expensive. Anybody could have walked in there. Don't put that on me. Was he calm? He said, yes. You went to see him. You didn't think he had a pow pow? He said, I couldn't call it. Mind you, they met at the Soho House. The Soho House is one of the most exclusive places, like clubs to be a member of. It wasn't like he's meeting him in a back alley. He's meeting him at a very exclusive club. Like Soho House is where Prince Harry met Meghan Markle. They literally met there. So it's a who's who kind of place. So when Steele says, you didn't think he had a gun? He says, I couldn't call it. Steele says, you're a strong person. That's how you categorize yourself. Yeah, this crossed the line. Miss Ventura told you she was abused. He said, yes. Let's see if they're going to go the DV route. Sounds like they will. He said, so brave. Yeah, it looks like they're going to go. It says, Diddy and Capricorn called to let him know they're at their house. Cudi finds his home broken into and his dog abused and put in the bathroom. Clearly, Diddy meant to do harm to Cudi. Car blowing up is no coincidence. Thank you, Gold Digger. Yeah, they're absolutely the jury is certainly allowed to put it together that way. I said before, the best example, this is circumstantial evidence, but it can still be used to get to reasonable doubt. The best example is if you got a 50-piece puzzle, you're missing 3 pieces to the puzzle, but you can still step back and look at the puzzle and be like, oh yeah, that's going to be a fire truck. That's a fire truck. That's what circumstantial evidence is. You don't have it all, but you have enough there to know this is what it is. So you got to decide for yourself. All that just Miss Gold Digger just has on the screen, are these all little coinkydinks? Because it all happened at the same time. I mean, we're talking same day. Diddy is sitting in front of your house and says, or Capricorn said, Diddy's at your house. You called Diddy and Diddy said, I'm at your house. And the house is getting broken into. How is it Diddy just happens to be sitting outside of your house that is broken into, but Diddy didn't do it? I think he did. But also, yeah, hit that subscribe button, guys. Let's get those subscriptions up. Hit that subscribe. But it's also that, remember, breaking into the house is not one of the indictable offenses. I won't say it's not indictable. It's not one of the ones on this list. It goes to the means and how he directs people to do unlawful things. But that, and burglary is not one of the charges. Arson is. So they have to believe that it was Diddy's instruction that made whoever blew that sucker up, blow it up. That's what has to be believed. That Diddy's instruction got them there. Oh, yay, I got a super chat. Lindell. Diddy is known to blackball artists. Casting, having money would not matter. She was stuck with him. He blackballed major. Yeah, she was stuck with him. I would agree with that. I would agree. She was stuck like Chuck with him. All right. We are waiting on any updates. I feel like I feel like Steele is probably going to get to a stopping point and then they're going to take a lunch break. But yeah, Miss Ventura, you told you she was abused. Yes. Mm-mm. Yes. The contrarian says Puff is done. They said it was female DNA. Hold on. That was a good one. They got Wendy Williams sent out of state. I don't know what that means. If it's Florida, I think that's a good thing, right? Diddy is a whole monster, someone says. Here we go. The only people Diddy fought one-on-one was women. Oh, that's a great point. We are waiting on an update of text. We are all caught up here. That is a good point. The only people he did fight one-on-one was women. And it ain't even one-on-one. I'd still consider that a bit of jumping just because he'd whoop on the woman one-on-one, but then his security be over there in the corner. Don't let her try to fight back. Because that's when his different security would say, oh, they'd separate him. He fought Drake, but that not one-on-one. That was not one-on-one. He had his bodyguards with him. Someone said, oh, wait. I live in LA, and I've been to Soho houses around the world. Lots of people in the entertainment industry and adjacent fields. In other words, Soho House is not the kind of venue where you'd be scared someone is gonna pow you in front of everyone. There are just too many movers and shakers in the industry where if he gonna get you, it ain't gonna be there. Not there. No. You were told, okay, we're updated. You were told she was abused. He said, yes. But she never said she was actually abused. True? She did not. You loved her. Tell me if I'm wrong. I did. Oh. You got played by the same person who played Mr. Combs, Cassie Ventura. I told y'all. Didn't I just tell you? Give me my flowers. Give them to me. Where's the lube? Where's the lube? Ring the alarm. I told you, give me my flowers. I told you that was going to be the defensive theme. Whoop, whoop, that Cassie's running around playing all these men. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh, we got them. We got them. I told you. That's what they were going to do. Are you persuaded? What do you guys think? After 1 month, fool, you were in love. But let's the thing, Zinga. It wasn't 1 month. They've known each other for 3 years. Then they began dating towards the end of 2011. So I could see, like, I have friends that are male friends that are in love with me, and we've known each other for years, but we've actually never officially dated. Yeah, Brian's doing a really good job. He's doing a really good job. He coerced and put substances in Cassie. Yeah, thank you. I just want to put it on the screen so people can see it. Hey, Mary, I haven't seen you in the chat in a minute. They're weaponizing her beauty against her. Yes. Cassie didn't play Diddy. She was his puppet. The lube ringtone is trending. Let's make it a thing. Crown said, free Diddy. All lies. All lies. All lies. All right, let's update this. Hold on. Stop texting me. Oh my God, I get all these texts, people asking to buy one of my properties or different properties I have. I'm not going to buy it. Somebody who text messages me, clearly you're going to underpay me. It says, in the 13 years since, have you ever been notified in California that there has been any more action on the car fire? He said, no. Did Miss Ventura have multiple phones? I don't remember. Still, 35, 12. If I said it, I said it. In other words, I told you I don't remember. Dang. He said, you got played by the same person who played Miss Ventura, Cassie. I don't know that Cassie played him. I really do believe that I think that when Cassie said we're broke up, it probably was like a day or a time they were broken up, or maybe she was trying to break up with him and move on with her life. She just wasn't able to do it because every time she liked somebody, he'd make them go away, or he had so much financial control. Why did Pity keep coming after her when she leaves. I think it was about control. It's about, hey, Elliot, it's about control. Like Janet Jackson says, starting to feel like Cassie liked this madness. Puff was into some wild-ish, and she was with it. That's how I'm feeling. That's how I'm feeling. That's why I think they really need to move away from her. Move away from stuff dealing with her, or that's showing her, that's creating that would like make the jury decide, is she a victim or not. Let's do some of the more clear-cut stuff. Like, tell us about more bribery. Further substantiate. Bring more, I don't know, of the hotel workers. How about the tampering with witnesses? All the tampering didn't necessarily involve Cassie. I do like that they're talking about the arson. It does somewhat deal with her. Thanks, Elliot, because it does involve him. Let's do an update. All right. Yeah, you got played by the same person who played him. Does she have multiple phones? I don't remember. 35, 12. If I said it, I said it. It says, still said, do you know what a burner phone is? Untraceable. The trespass. You called it a break-in. Oh, look how they reframed it. The trespass, as in they're saying it wasn't a break-in because the door was open. That is a lie. If you walk into a house and you say, is anybody home? If you know you having beef with somebody over a chick and you walk into their house, it's burglary. You knew you didn't have no permission. It's not trespass. Some people want to call it a trespass instead of burglary, because burglary is generally breaking and entering, like forcing something open. But walking into a home you're not invited to, where no one else is home and no one else has let you in, is also burglary. It says, Miss Ventura told you she'd given your home address to Mr. Combs. Yes, in the morning. No more question. Thanks. He said, no problem. Hold up. Hold up. Elliot, get that comment back up here. Cassie, you need your mama. I can't even say put a switch to you. You didn't have enough bruises. Your mama needs to put you in timeout. Nobody needs to put their hands on you anymore in your life, but your mama needs to put you in timeout. Why would you give this man's address to this crazed lunatic? You know what address you need to give him? The address to the goddamn police department. Give him that address. Why? No, that is not okay. That's not okay. I get it. She did not have power. I hear that too. Kara W said, I am sure he beat it out of her or threatened to get the address. Then he gonna have to get it. Now I see why Kid Cudi feels played. Kid Cudi, you needed to dump her. Because this girl put you in that mix. That is not okay. It's sad that there wasn't one person to fight for Cassie's life and justice. It says the Hollywood was Diddy Kingdom. Congratulations, Americans. Well, Cassie was being abused. She was. I believe that. And Kara W, you're probably right. It probably was beat out of her. That's cold-blooded. You don't do that to somebody you love. Now I see why that man is sick of her. I dump her too. And if that was my brother, I'd probably try to fight her. Not me, because I can't go to jail and keep my job. But I would definitely use probably one of my clients that owes me money. Redirect. What did Miss Ventura confide in you about abuse? That he would hit her, sometimes kick her? The day of the break-in, was she carefree? No. What? There we go. What did Capricorn Clark tell you? Sean Combs and an affiliate forced her into a car to come to my house. I called the police. How would you describe Cassie that day? Just really shook. Him finding out about us really shook her. Come on, Cappy. Capricorn. Come on, girl. You better put your good church suit on. Because Cappy's going to be up there at least 2 days. Cappy is going to pull it together. Because see, Capricorn don't work for him no more. So Capricorn is sick of this. And Capricorn, I read to you Capricorn's bio earlier in this chat. And I'm ultimately do chapters and make sure I mark it. I read you her bio because I want you to see how she is a woman about her business. And what she doesn't want is for her legacy to be ruined by marred into this foolishness that this man had her wrapped into. She did post it 2011. She said was like the worst year. This was 2011. This is what she's referring to. Sean Combs, an affiliate, forced her into a car to come to my house. That's kidnapping. That's kidnapping. That's gonna be the California kidnapping, would be my guess. Diddy made Capricorn throw the cocktail. That would make perfect sense. As you put, yo, if Capricorn gets on that stand and it says that, or even just says, he forced me to get in the car and come on down. Oh, shit. Why did your relationship with Miss Ventura end? The drama. It was getting out of hand. I wanted to give space. What drama? The break-in. For my safety, for her safety. Objection, grounds. Speculation, overruled. Why did you have safety concerns? Because I knew Sean Combs was violent. Your Honor, may we approach? Sidebar. Get him. Got him. Good. But he's right. And here's the thing. I know Kid Cudi probably felt extremely justified for calling it off with her and then seeing that she done continue to fool with this man for 6 more years. 6 more years. 6 more years. 6 more years of this. Because this was 2012 and she didn't break free till 18. I know he said, I'm so glad I got up out of that. Because no good could come from that. And I still think about, that is so interesting. Do we think, y'all hit that subscribe button, please, as you're joining, and the like. Do we think that Diddy, oh, shoot. Do we think that Diddy, number one, made Capricorn throw that cocktail? I don't know. That's a toughie. That's a toughie. I don't know about that one. But something that continues, I can't get my mind off of, still thinking about going back to, no, we're not frozen. When she didn't leave. That's what it, Danny. Here, we're going to hit refresh. All right, we're still waiting for more. Danny, this is what I can't get over. After you blackmail my parents and you make them mortgage their home, I could never look my mama in the face and be back to you. And then the fact that her mom was like, oh yeah, I went to her 30th birthday. He was there. Excuse me. Hello. That was really shocking. My parents would have found a way to intervene. My parents are married. Her parents are married. I'm speaking from that perspective. I actually talked to my mom about it. And my mom was saying, I would have, if you had gone back to him, I would have assumed it was due to some form of blackmail. And actually, my mom was saying, behind my back, my mom would have been dealing with the feds. I found that. I thought that was brilliant. She said, She said, if you were going to be one of those girls, be like, no, mom, don't do it. I love him. It was just this. It was that. Because see, that's how the expert took the stand. Remember, the expert took the stand yesterday, Dr. Dawn, and talked about how they'll do things, they'll love bomb you, they'll this, that, and the third. I feel that Diddy then giving the parents back the money 4 days later was part of how he likely got Cassie back. It's part of, Stimmy said, I would have just been in jail. It said, because I knew Sean Combs, what? Says a whole lot. The difference already called Cudi a strong man. Yeah. You don't get to blackmail my parents and have them mortgage their home and then just decide, psycho-like, here's your money back 4 days later. Fuck you. Like, what is wrong with you? No. It says, did she really have a choice? He knew that Puff whooped her tail, and yet he didn't say it to no one either. He didn't blow a whistle about it. about nothing. So he is no better. The question is, who do you tell? When you can't even get justice for arson, who do you tell about that? I don't know. I feel like if you don't get justice for arson, you don't get justice for burglary. And it makes it real complicated if you think there's any chance that this chick is going to take him back. Guessing she felt, I definitely feel like she felt she had no choice because he had her under that 10 album contract. Shoot. I still say, I want to know, why didn't you call the feds? Miss Regina, why y'all didn't call the feds? I'm not calling no local cops because I'm going to believe the local cops are paid off. The feds. Why you didn't call the feds? What was the timeline of him extorting the parents? This is important. I'm glad that you asked. Let's hit refresh. The timeline of the parent extortion is this stuff went down. It says, hold on, I'm going to answer that next. It says, why did you have safety concerns? Because I knew Sean Combs was violent. Objection, approach. Now they're changing the topic. The meeting at the Soho House, Mr. Combs said, I don't know what you're talking about regarding your car. Do you believe him? Objection, rephrase. What was your understanding? That he was lying. No further questions. Of course he was lying, somebody said. No further questions. I bet. No further questions. I'm hungry. Any recross? No, Your Honor. Mr. Miss Cudi, you're done. Kid Cudi is done. So it should be about lunchtime. For Kid Cudi is done. All right, this is important. The timeline of the extortion. She starts dating Kid Cudi December of 2011. Christmas Day, he extorts the family. I'm sorry, Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, he extorts the family, and Cassie sends this text message to her mama. Threats is the subject line. The threats that have been made towards me by Sean Puffy Combs are that he is going to release 2 explicit X tapes of me, one on Christmas Day, maybe before or right after, and another one sometime soon after that. He's also said he will be having someone hurt me and Kid Cudi physically. He made a point that it wouldn't be by his hands. He actually said he'd be out of the country when it happened. This was December 23rd. And then the house was broken into around that time. And then in January, right after this, January, which would have been like a week or so later, Molotov cocktail in his convertible. Mind tricks, yes, are attacks on the heart. Absolutely. Mind tricks are attacks on the heart. All right, we got a break. I'm pretty sure it's a lunch break. Mind tricks are attacks on the heart, girl. Hey, cousin. Thank you so much. I think we're forgetting that Cassie's friend did call the cops. But when they arrived, Cassie said nothing. She wouldn't give him her ID. She wouldn't cooperate. People did try to help her leave, and she never could. Cassie played Puffy for $20K. He just wanted his money back. No, she didn't. He didn't want his money back. He wasn't owed money for anything. So let's just be really clear, Mr. Rock. He was not owed money for anything. You're not owed. You don't get to recoup nothing, nada, when you have someone in a 10 album deal and you haven't released an album with them. They released one. You only get to recoup after each of the albums. So if they had done album 2 and it didn't make money, or it began to make money, then yeah, you recoup. Nothing was owed. That was a scheme. That was blackmail. Even if Diddy is innocent, his reputation is. Capricorn is not Lauren London's sister. No, they're just good friends who call each other sister. Ah, good to know. Cassie's mom said a few days after he sent the money back, and Cassie was back with Diddy. Yeah, it doesn't make it right. It's all the more reason. I think Diddy sent that money back because he wanted Cassie back. The email sounds a bit cold. to be sending to your parents. I'm wondering if Diddy sent it from her email. So Diddy separately sent one from her email. But we will be back after lunch. I'm going to take my lunch break. I'm going to do a little bit of work. This is wild, y'all. So in summary, we had Kid Cudi's testimony. What he supplied was evidence that Diddy was at his house. He called Diddy. Diddy said, "I'm at your house." And that, and when he gets to the house, his house had been broken into. Stuff had been rummaged through. His dog was hurt. His dog was placed in the bathroom, was jittery and upset. The defense referred to it as a trespass, not a burglary. Brilliant lawyering. It's just a trespass. Door was open. There was no first entry. Door must have been unlocked. Somebody just wandered in there. Ciao. And then Cudi also testified that Capricorn Clark informed him that Diddy forced her to get into the car and take her to Kid Cudi's house. That's kidnapping. And Cudi also said that Cassie admitted that she gave Diddy his address. Many in the chat said he likely beat it out of her. I believe it. He likely did. But I can see why on Cudi's side he said, "Oh no, I got to get up out of here." Because if I'm dealing with a woman who is just in this situation, I can't do it. And I understand. She then stayed with that man for 6 more years. So he wasn't wrong there. Hit that like button, guys. So in summary, I think the testimony was very helpful to go towards proving the arson. I have a feeling that Capricorn Clark's testimony is going to put that nail in the heart. We got a little bit of a nail, but they ain't been drilled up in there. I think she's going to bring that arson claim together. It says Diddy wasn't invited. Why have your doors unlocked in a multi-million-dollar home? That's a lot of times where they do it. Their neighborhoods be so comfortable and But all right, guys, I will talk to you guys after lunch. There will be more. I'm not exactly sure which witness is next, but boy, Kid Cudi was a lot. I'm your legal bestie, Attorney Simone, and this is Girl, Is That Legal?